but it's going to be a beautiful night for football. The last time these two teams met, December 2nd, 1985, Miami a winner by 14 points. And that was when Chicago was going for the perfect season. Good look at Mike Ditka on the sidelines. 6th season with the Bears. 54-25 so far. The Chicago Bears will receive, and there is Don Shula, who will get his kicking team ready. Shula celebrating his silver anniversary, 263 wins, second only to Papa Bear George Halas in the history of the NFL. Fode Revez will be kicking off for the Miami Dolphins, and we are set to go with our NFL preseason 1987 on ESPN. One thing Don Shula wanted to do was get bigger plays out of his kickoff and punt teams. They didn't get a lot of them last year, Boyd.
Yeah, particularly on the coverage, and they're going to be kicking to Dennis Gentry, who is the best return man in the NFL in terms of average return, not in terms of frequency of return. Should have made the Pro Bowl, I think, last year, Dennis Gentry.
Probably should have. He had a great year, and like you said, he doesn't get to return a lot, but when he does get the ball, he knows how to take it up the field.
Yeah, not many teams kick to the Bears. That's the key element, I think.
Fode Revez to kick away. Tim Jesse and Eric Jeffries, 31 and 32, are deep. And we have some kind of a delay. I think we are waiting on a parachutist to come down, as they have had quite a festival atmosphere here at the opening of the new stadium.
You know what's interesting, Mike? They haven't had the parking problems or the access problems that they had anticipated for the stadium tonight. Here he is. This guy's
is he scheduled?
He's zooming in right here in Joe Robbie Stadium, right here.
Is he scheduled, or is
I don't know.
the guy from the
I
Mets?
assume he's scheduled because they're holding up the game for this guy.
Oh.
Yes, we are told he is scheduled. No, but the fact is they thought they'd have all kinds of headaches tonight with parking and access. There are only 2 roads, really, and 2 exits off the freeway leading to Joe Robbie Stadium, but everyone's in their seats as far as I can see, and this place is packed.
We understand now the parachutist is bringing in the game ball, so they have to wait for him.
It's a little pomp and pageantry here, huh?
And the Bears are going to go to the sideline and have a little conference among themselves. While we have the opportunity, let's talk just a little more about this stadium. It is a state-of-the-art place, 75,000 seats, and Joe Robbie really went out on a limb to develop this place.
Yeah, it was an 11-year dream realized for Joe Robbie. Privately financed. The house that Joe bought cost $102 million, and the reviews are raves and rage. The raves include the fact that no public money was needed to finance, which is unprecedented. It's a beautiful state-of-the-art facility, can be used for baseball, concerts, and Robbie really pulled off a miracle in avoiding quadruple rent here in the Orange Bowl in Miami. He did that, but the rage, well, it has to do with the fact that the NFL owners felt Robbie was too greedy in his demand to pocket a $1.50 surcharge on tickets without splitting money with the visiting team. You see right here, these are the luxury suites. The owners think Robbie's trying to avoid the 60-40 split on tickets with the other teams by building not 1 but 2 levels of exclusive seating. The sky boxes right there, which go for up to $60,000 a year on a 10-year lease, and the club block boxes below. The blue seats you see fans below the sky boxes go for up to $1,400 a season on a 10-year lease. This is all money. This is all money that Robbie does not have to split with the visiting teams. The fans, of course, we said before, angry over the parking problems. There are only 15,000 spaces. This is one way to get to the stadium without having to worry about parking, I think. They charge up to $15 to park a car across the street. They're not going to charge this guy for admission, I don't think, either. Some fans angry over losing their choice season ticket locations after holding them for 22 years. Some fans have been moved from the 50-yard line in the Orange Bowl down to the 10-yard line. But Robbie did it. He did it his way. The fans, the owners might be upset, but Robbie is his own man. And this is not Dan Marino, ladies and gentlemen, number 13. And I think we're ready for a fantastic, this has got to be one of the great inaugurations. Oh, he took a big spill. But he got into the end zone.
He had both feet down, did he?
Fantastic.
This is the kind of night it has been. As we said, a festival atmosphere here in Miami as the fans really appreciate this new stadium, and Joe Robbie on the sideline. The man who has been with this franchise since its inception 22 years ago.
A bittersweet relationship the Miami media has had with Joe Robbie. People don't know that the Miami Herald was barred from the team plane in a feud with Joe Robbie regarding an expose they did on the building of this stadium. He's a very cantankerous man, but he is, as we said before, his own man. And what can you say? A man 70 years old, bringing this stadium on time, on budget, within 2 years. It's almost a miracle.
Dick, you played on special teams. Now, these guys have already been out there about 3 or 4 minutes. Get a little frustrating for you, maybe?
No, I wouldn't think so. I'd look at the parachutist myself. I think when you had that shot of Robbie there, he was probably thinking, look, it took me 11 years to get this darn thing up, and look at this. The one guy holds up the whole thing.
That's right.
The parachutist. I think we're ready now, though.
Super
Faud Revez has a new ball to tee it up.
Right.
And once again, you've got Eric Jeffries, 31, and Tim Jesse, 32, deep for the Chicago Bears in the first kickoff ever in the new Joe Robbie Stadium about to happen. A new kickoff rule in the NFL this year. If you kick the ball out of bounds, it will be spotted 30 yards from where it's kicked. In this case, it would be at the 35-yard line. Into the end zone, and it's Tim Jesse 5 yards deep, and he will down it, and the Bears will start from their own 20-yard line. 1st and 10. With Jim McMahon resting that injured shoulder, third-year man Mike Tomczak will be the starter. The Bears 7-0 when he started a year ago. The offensive line a little thin tonight. Jay Hilgenberg and Keith Van Horn are out. Pro Bowler Jim Covert hasn't been in camp very long. Behind Tomczak in the backfield, one of the best who ever played, Walter Payton. Keep an eye on McKinnon. He's coming off knee surgery.
There you see Mike Tomczak. You know, he was 7-0 last year. Why did Ditka sit him down, Dick?
I think the first 2 years that Mike came to the Bears, he was so involved and concentrating so much to learn the fundamentals of reading defenses that he forgot the fundamentals of playing quarterback. He was in and out of the doghouse with Mike, and I think that's the only way you can explain it.
And the crowd is really up. McKinnon, the big tight end, shifts to the near side. Galt and McKinnon are the wide receivers. Moorhead, the tight end, 87. Pump fake, wants to throw a screen and throws for Payton, and it's short. Payton covered well. They'll give him a completion, and they'll gain about 3 yards, and the crowd didn't like it as we take a look at the Dolphins defense. A little thin up front with Baumauer and #1 draft choice John Bosa not in camp. Little led the lineman in sacks last year. The linebacking could be very good, especially if Hugh Green can come back. He won't start tonight. Offerdahl made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. The secondary lacks speed. Strong safety Glenn Blackwood is the veteran of that group. So it is ruled an incomplete pass, and it will be 2nd and 10 for Chicago.
One of the things the Dolphins need to get are more turnovers, plain and simple. They dropped from 10 interceptions, from 23 interceptions in 85 to 13 interceptions in 86. Now let's take a look at this pass play right here by Tomczak. Was this pass completed or incompleted? Let's take a closer look. The referee getting out of the way. Clearly an incompleted pass.
And or you can also see that Tomczak wasn't really set up right to throw that ball. He was almost up in the air, almost like a jump pass, and that's some of the problems that he had last year.
He did lead the Bears in passing last year, though, for what it's worth.
2nd and 10. Chicago. Suey, the fullback. Walter Payton, number 34, splits to the right. McKinnon in motion. And they'll give it to Payton. Straight up the middle. And he's nailed by Mark Brown out of Purdue, the 5-year man, number 51. He's starting in place of Hugh Green tonight.
What can you say about Walter Payton that hasn't been said already? 10 1,000-yard seasons. What great leg drive the man has. Balance and determination. His carries are going to be reduced, though, I think, this year, right, Dick?
I think so. You know, everybody's questioning whether he slowed down or not. But I tell you what, when you need 3 or 4 yards, there's the guy to give it to.
Keith Ortego, number 29, comes in as an extra wide receiver. And Neil Anderson, number 35, also comes in for the Bears. And they'll go out of the shotgun on 3rd down. Tomczak straight up the middle. He's got the first down and more. Tomczak, 41-yard line. Finally covered by Paul Langford, but 15 yards for Mike Tomczak coming out of the pocket.
A fundamental problem for the Dolphins last year was the fact that they couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. In fact, they only came up on a defensive line unit with 7 sacks all year, 33 total. They've got to get better penetration. They've got to get the sacks way up in that total, the Dolphins defensive line.
Put the regular set back in there with McKinnon and Galt as the wide receivers. Suey and Payton running back, split behind Tomczak. 1st and 10 from 42. gets his first try behind a block by Walter Payton across the 45 to about the 47. So give him a gain of about 5 yards. Last man up off the pile, T.J. Turner, the left defensive end. Numbers on Suey. Now, Suey is going to have to fight for his job a little bit this year. They really like the idea of playing Neil Anderson over there at the fullback spot, or even possibly Walter Payton.
Yeah, that's the thing. They might want to put Payton at fullback and get some play in out of Neil Anderson at halfback. I think tonight, though, Neil Anderson might look at some fullback.
Bears 27 yards on the ground so far and only 3 carries, and they'll keep it there. And Suey gets to midfield and maybe just across. On top of the pile, George Little, number 99, 3-year man out of Iowa. He took the job from Kim Bokamper in preseason last year.
There you see him. Jim McMahon hasn't and probably won't throw deep for several weeks in camp. You know, it's hard to believe that he was once redshirted behind Mark Wilson of the Raiders. This is a pretty good quarterback. 23-0 the Bears are when he starts football games. Problem is he doesn't start many. Less than 50% in his career.
Third down, almost 2 for Chicago from midfield. Payton got the first down to the Miami 45-yard line. And, of course, this is the kind of thing that ate up the Dolphins last year. People able to move the ball either on the ground or in the air and keep it away from Dan Marino.
Walter Payton only had 4 100-yard games last year. They definitely tried to phase, I shouldn't say phase him out, because clearly he can play 3-4 years and be a dominant football player, still among the leading rushers. But they're trying to water down maybe his responsibilities a little bit, get him some rest, trying to pace him.
Really the second time in 10 years that Walter Payton has played in the first exhibition game of the season, or preseason game rather, and there's the toss to Payton down to the Miami 39-yard line. Rick Graff, a young linebacker out of Wisconsin, they really like, made the tackle.
Look at the numbers for Walter Payton, the all-time Bears receiver, 16,193 career rushing yards. You never played against him, though, or alongside of him.
Never played with him, and the statistic I like about him that he'll play ball. He'll play every game for you. I don't know how many he's missed, but I tell you, you can count them on your hand.
Last tackle made by Bob Brodzinski instead of Rick Graff. Tomczak wants to throw again, has some pressure, unloads, complete over the middle. Down to the 33-yard line, hit Emery Moorhead, his tight end. Moorhead wrapped up by Jackie Shipp out of Oklahoma.
Mike Tomczak, much better conditioned this year than he was last year. He's jumping rope a little bit more, working the aerobics. And Ditka said to me today that he was pleasantly surprised with the way he's worked thus far.
I think he's worked a lot in the offseason on the fundamentals of dropping back and some of the things that he forgot about when he was trying to learn this Bear offense. And I think now he's got the time to put it all together and then show what he can do.
Chicago with an impressive opening drive. 1st and 10 now from the Miami 32. Dolphins showing blitz. And Payton tries to sweep. No place to go. And out there to stop him, Mark Brown. Pretty tough to run outside against the 34.
Nice play there by Brown. Incidentally, Brown replacing at least periodically tonight Hugh Green, who suffered a patellar tendon injury, a knee injury, severe knee injury last year in Game 3. They've got to get Hugh Green back at the linebacker spot if the Dolphins have any hope on defense this year.
Walter Payton, 3 carries, 12 yards here in the first quarter. 2nd and 11 for Mike Tomczak. Quickly over the middle, out of the hands, intercepted by Offerdahl. John Offerdahl makes the interception, the young man out of Western Michigan who made the Pro Bowl last year as a rookie.
Well, he was the guy that Shula said was the only man on defense who had a job. They call him the second coming of Jack Lambert at 135 tackles last year. I think he and maybe Dino Hackett of the Kansas City Chiefs were the 2 best rookies on defense in the NFL last year. Occasionally, he says, he gets tired late in the game, but this guy goes with all pistons all the way through a football game. Very intense competitor. He's going to be the birthday boy, by the way, tomorrow, the age of 23, John Offerdahl.
Marino with his first offensive opportunity from his own 30-yard line. He wants to throw it immediately. He goes to Clayton, and it's slightly behind him, and Clayton couldn't hold it. Dan Marino will run that Dolphin offense. His stats in only 4 years have already put his name in the record book several times. The offensive line Allowed only 17 sacks all of last year, the best in the league, and Dwight Stevenson may be the best in the business at his position. Lorenzo Hampton, the Dolphins' main threat on the ground, but Mark Duper is the big play man in the passing game. 2nd and 10, Miami. Against a tough Bear defense. Draw play to Hampton. Hampton never had a chance. Picked up by Richard Dent before he reached the line of scrimmage. Bears on defense, just tremendous talent up front. Steve McMichael may have had the best 1986 season of all of them. Linebackers have all been to the Pro Bowl. Mike Singletary in the middle has been to 4 straight. The secondary a little weak at the corner with Mike Richardson's holdout. Dave Duerson, though, has become a great safety back there. Todd Bell and Sean Gale now check into the secondary for the Bears, and it's 3rd and 11. Into the shotgun goes Marino. Under some pressure, dumps it, and it's incomplete. Trying to throw to Tony Nathan coming out of the backfield. So close, but not quite in the opening series. 2 passes by Marino fall incomplete.
You mentioned before the fact that the Dolphin offensive line only gave up 17 sacks last year. Maybe it's because Marino makes an offensive line pass blocking wise look great, because you can't really blitz Marino. He's got that quick release, and I think that that's one of the reasons the offensive line looks so good in pass blocking.
Tim Jesse deep to receive the punt of Rick Roby, or Reggie Roby, excuse me, who just kicks the air out of it. One of the most unique punting styles in the business. Jesse, an outstanding college performer at Auburn. Not a great kick this time by Roby, and it bounces back the other way. The Dolphins will down it near the 40-yard line. So the Chicago Bears, after a 30-yard punt, will have pretty decent offensive field position. And we'll be back with more in a moment.
1st and 10, Chicago.
We're scoreless in the first quarter between Chicago and Miami from the new Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, Florida. The Chicago Bears have the football at their own 41-yard line. Each team has had the ball once and failed to score. The Dolphins only had 3 plays and a punt. Chicago had an impressive drive before the interception. Good look at Mike Tomczak. He'll play probably a half tonight, possibly the 1st and 3rd quarters. We also expect to get a look at one of their high-round draft choices, Jim Harbaugh and Doug Flutie, who did not have a great 1986 with the Chicago Bears after he signed. Tomczak with a play fake. All day to throw. Guns almost intercepted. Offerdahl had his hands on it again. Really like this young man out of Western Michigan. He has a lot of emotion and can develop into a great leader.
You take a look at this guy in his first year, so dominant. Not really great with the speed. Not a particularly good pass defender. He'll admit that. But the fact is he plays very well in the zone. You got to like him, Dick.
You know, a lot of times people look at the speed and everything else, but you can't cut open their chest and see what kind of desire they want.
Great heart, yep.
Tomczak so far, 2 out of 5, 13 yards and an interception. Now he faces 2nd and 11. Miami comes with a 3-man rush. Draw play, Payton. And Walter Payton at the 47-yard line. Brzezinski really gave him a shot. Brzezinski, their most consistent linebacker overall, although 1986 was not his best year. A good look at Bob out of Ohio State, 11 years.
Entering the game now, we see Hugh Green, number 55, and this is the guy that we want to keep an eye on a little bit tonight, particularly because he's coming off that very serious knee injury last year against the Jets. He has got to get into this lineup and play consistent football for the Dolphins.
Bears go to their 3 receivers. Ortego, number 89, is in there, along with 29, Dennis Gentry, and 35, Neil Anderson. Bad snap on the shotgun. Anderson tries to recover and does. Covered quickly. And the Bears will have to kick it away.
Ditka not pleased with that. This was a bad exchange, Dick.
Well, Larry Rubens is in there for Jay Hogenberg, and what might happen was that the sweat or whatever, because it's so humid down there, maybe some sweat got on a ball, but you can't roll it back.
It really is like a sauna down here. Boy, it is humid outside.
Corey Buford is back to punt. Deep receiver Scott Schwades, young man out of Syracuse, a rookie. Low snap. He has not dropped a punt since junior high school in a junior varsity game. He didn't get a crack at that one. Bud Brown, one of the upmen, took the 33-yard punt, and Miami will start from its own 25-yard line when we come back. Mike Patrick, Roy Firestone, and Dick Butkus with you from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, Florida. The Bears and the Dolphins scoreless first quarter. Miami with its second possession. The Dolphins take over at the 25-yard line. One player you will not see tonight, the venerable Nat Moore, the 14-year player. He's one of those guys that calls Don Shula and tells him when he's ready to come in, and Don doesn't seem to be too upset about it either.
That's right. You said that the other day.
Marino 0 for 2 in his first series.
He what?
He said he calls me when he's ready.
Oh.
Marino over the middle and complete to Hardy to the 32-yard line. Gary Fensick had to make the stop. Good gain on that play. 8 yards, and we'll bring you up to the 33-yard line. Take a look at the updates on the pennant races. Philadelphia knocks off St. Louis. The Cardinals struggling a little bit. And some other scores for you. 2nd and 2 run. Davenport, number 30, is in there, and he will lead Hampton on the sweep. Has the first down. Took a shot from the refrigerator. William Perry, loose ball, but it was blown dead.
Nice effort there by Lorenzo Hampton. And if you take a look at this guy in the face, he kind of looks like Lionel Richie, you know? And if you cross Lorenzo Hampton with Lionel Richie, I think you get Lionel Hampton, right?
Well, what is the fridge supposed to look like? That's domino?
This is a football player who is known as a weaver, not a darter. He's a slasher. They have their own one-liners. He's a weaver, not a darter, the scouts say.
First down for Miami. Spotted at the 37. Bears showing blitz, drop out of it, 4-man rush. Marino far side, complete to the 47-yard line to Duper. Duper covered well by Bestie Jackson, but a perfectly thrown ball. ESPN's presentation of the National Football League is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By the Uniroyal Goodrich Tire Company, makers of premium radial tires for cars and trucks. And by Kemper and the independent insurance agents who represent us. Once you compare Kemper, you'll ride with us. Scoreless first quarter at Joe Robbie Stadium, but the Dolphins on the move as Marino has hit a couple. Hampton on the delay. Almost broke that one. Gets into Bear territory down to about the 46-yard line. Steve McMichael, number 76, holding onto his ankles.
One of the things Lorenzo Hampton told us when we visited with him on Friday is, hey, we want the ball now. The offensive running game wants the ball more. We didn't get it. They had, of course, the fewest rushing attempts in football last year because of Marino. Get us the ball and we'll produce. They are still looking for a guy to produce. He had 830 yards, 9 touchdowns. That was tops for the running.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4. Passing down from Marino, out to Hampton, no chance. Hampton wrapped up by Wilbur Marshall just as he got the football.
Wilbur Marshall, if there's one guy that Don Shula fears most, maybe on the whole football field, it's Wilbur Marshall.
I tell you, this guy, he can cover backs, receivers, and he's the quietest guy off the field. But, boy, when he gets that helmet on, he's a different person. And I don't know, you know, he's getting a lot of raves now, but I tell you, he's one of the underrated guys. This guy really makes it work for their defense.
Nathan is in there as a running back. James Pruitt, number 82, comes in as the 3rd wide receiver. 3rd down and 4 for the Dolphins. 4-man rush. Marino unloads in a hurry. Complete to Pruitt at the 40. Jukes one man, gets down to the 38-yard line. Fensick had to make the tackle after he got away from Dave Dewerson. And that's Pruitt out of Cal State Fullerton.
Now, they like Pruitt a lot, particularly at the beginning of the season last year. They tried to put him on special teams, and it was a failure. He fumbled the ball several times. He did break one for a touchdown after fumbling the ball. It hurt him in his receiving department. He lost confidence. Don Shula's working on the confidence in practice this summer. They like a lot more what they see now, and they think he's matured a great deal.
Good play mixture on this drive. They've gotten some yards on the ground. Davenport comes back in, number 30, to team with Hampton, 27 in the Miami backfield. Hampton with a big rush. Flags are down all over the place, and somebody moved before the snap of the ball. And it looks like it's procedure against the Dolphins. That'll cost them 5.
No play.
That's one thing Shula doesn't like, right? Fumbles, no backs, no receivers, fumble,
Mistakes.
Out you
Any
go.
mistake. By the way, the Dolphins, the least penalized team in football last year, and they have been for several years. Don Shula really likes to pride himself on that, play mistake-proof football.
Isn't he on the rules committee?
Yeah, that might be part of the reason, though.
One of the new rules we'll talk about in a second is designed to protect people like this, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Defensive ends can only take one step instead of two before they unload on the quarterback if he's throwing the ball. We'll get into that in a little more. First and 15. And they'll give it to Davenport. Got most of the penalty yardage back. Pensick makes the tackle along with Singletary. And they are working on Walter Payton changing the cleats on his shoe. Now, this is prescription turf in this new stadium. Very good surface to run on. And with all the rain they get in Miami, it drains exceptionally well. And Walter Payton may have lost a step, but he's still one of the great players.
But he found a cleat, right?
He threw a cleat on that one. 2nd and 9 for the Chicago 37. We're scoreless. Blitz. Marino unloads and overthrows Mark Duper.
That's what's amazing about Marino. The Bears had a red dog going on, and Otis Wilson coming up the middle, and Dan spotted it and threw it over. Got rid of it. That's why you don't sack this guy.
Got a great release. Pruitt and Nathan will check in as the tight end Bruce Hardy comes out of the ball game on 3rd and 9.
Richard Dent told me today at lunch, he said, boy, I hate playing against Marino. He makes us all look so bad.
Just a great quarterback. He has rung up some stats in 4 years that are absolutely unbelievable.
Yep.
Dolphins crowd wanting something to happen for their ball club on 3rd and long. 4-man rush. Marino chased out of the pocket, shovels to Hampton. Hampton struggles for the first down. He's going to be about a yard shy. Marshall got to him, along with number 25, Todd Bell, former All-Pro strong side safety.
It looked to me like an improvisational move on the part of Hampton that time, maybe not a design play.
And Don Shula is going to go with the crowd. He's going for the first down.
Sure, it's the new stadium. Go for it. Right.
Sends in a second tight end, Joel Williams, number 88, and Woody Bennett, who just signed with the ball club, comes in for the first time. He's their best blocking back. This would give that Dolphins offense some confidence. Bennett in motion. Hampton got the first down and more. Hampton dragged down by Bestie Jackson, but not before he reached the 21-yard line. And this is an offensive line missing 2 starters tonight.
Well, the Dolphins want him thinking more instinctive. And basically, he did a lot of this on his own, carrying Bestie Jackson on his back for about 2 or 3 more yards.
And that is the end of a very rapid first quarter here in Miami. The Dolphins nothing. The Chicago Bears nothing. We'll be back for the second quarter in a moment.
Last year, Miami's defense was a passive one, the new trademark of Tom Olivadotti, the new defensive coach. Watch linebacker Brown right there, number 51, before the snap of the ball, getting ready, and here's penetration by blue jersey.
Subscription go for anywhere from maybe $18 to $35 a year.
And from the Chicago 22-yard line. And there is a delay of game penalty against the Dolphins, which will cost them 5. We're just starting the second quarter. Mike Patrick, Roy Firestone, and Dick Butkus. Glad you could be with us for our first preseason game of 1987, and in fact, our first preseason game ever on ESPN. We hope you'll enjoy the rest of the season with us.
22 years ago tonight, the Dolphin franchise was born.
And they wish they'd had Dan Marino for 22 years, although they did have Bob Greasy here, very happy with Mr. Greasy for a long, long time. First and 15, Miami. Marino dumps it quick to Hampton. Hampton cannot get away from Fensick, but gets down to the 19-yard line. Lorenzo Hampton, who wants to do a little running and a little receiving for Miami this year and really wants to have a ball control type offense.
I want to talk about the Bear defense, the changeover from Buddy Ryan's defense the year before to Tobin's. a lot of players privately unhappy with that. Richard Dent said, hey, free me up a little bit more. Let me do my thing, huh, Dick?
Well, yeah, that's true, but I tell you, Vince Tobin's record speaks for itself.
14-2.
They had a better defense statistically last year than the year before.
James Pruitt, 82, is in there for Clayton, 83. Marino fumbles the snap from center and has to cover it as Otis Wilson covers him.
I guess the question I'm asking, though, is was it in fact a better defense? They had fewer sacks. They had fewer takeaways. They had a higher third down conversion ratio on defense. And it looks like Dan Marino's favoring his hand, his right hand on this play.
It could have been on a snap. He had it down too low and it jammed it on the snap.
He's holding on to it. But we'll get to that Bear issue in just a moment.
So Marino goes out. Don Shula looks at it, apparently not too serious, because Marino walks right by him. And Jim Jensen, the 7th-year man out of Boston University, also a backup wide receiver and a backup tight end in the ball game. And he comes in on 3rd and 8. Tough situation to be in. Out of the shotgun, throwing deep in the end zone, almost picked off. Sean Gale looked like he mistimed his jump a little bit. It was Todd Bell on the coverage, but Gale was slashing across and just missed the interception.
Well, we'll take a look at it from the low angle from the end zone. You see the ball in the air right there. It looked as though Pruitt maybe had a step, but Gale and Bell really coming up with the play, batting the ball down. Here's Claude Revades.
He will try the field goal. 37-yard attempt out of the hold of veteran Don Strock. Strock got the snap down. Good job by Don Strock, and Claude Revades knocks it through. And the Miami Dolphins have drawn first blood here at Joe Robbie Stadium. They lead the Bears 3-0.
We got it.
Miami on a Revades field goal leads the Chicago Bears, but Dan Marino is the story right now because he has left the field to go to the locker room, presumably for an x-ray of his right hand.
There's no question about that. He was holding his right hand, favoring it. Didn't look to look at his face in the break, that it was too serious, but I think they're taking some precautionary x-rays. Boy, if they lost Marino, it would be devastating.
He had an excellent first quarter, 6 out of 9 for 43 yards. Revades to kick off. Jeffries 31 and Jesse 32 are deep. With Tim Jesse from the 8-yard line. 20, 30. And Revades made the stop. The ball down near the 43-yard line. A 36-yard return by Tim Jesse, the rookie out of Auburn.
First and 10 Chicago from the 42-yard line.
I have a chance to see Tim Jesse out of Auburn, a guy who played behind Brent Fullwood. Ditka likes this guy, right?
In practice, this guy's been running hard, and Mike really likes him. I think he's going to put him in there to start running the ball out of the offense. Usually, you know, you throw him back there in the kickoffs, but he's going to get some playing time.
Sanders 20 and Anderson 35. The running backs behind Mike Tomczak. We've probably seen the last of Walter Payton for the night. This is Sanders. Good cutback. Gets to the 47, maybe the 48-yard line. Brought down by Rick Graff, rookie out of Wisconsin. ESPN's presentation of the NFL on ESPN will continue next Sunday night at 8 o'clock. The Rams against the San Diego Chargers. Airtime 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. Roy and I will be joined by former Ram star Jack Hacksaw Reynolds. Gain of 5 on the last play for Chicago. And they'll give it to Anderson. First down and more to the 38-yard line. Brzezinski on top of him. Also John Offerdahl. The update on Marino, it is the little finger on his right hand, and we will let you know what happens with the x-rays as soon as possible.
He's had hand problems before, cracking a bone in his hand a couple of years back. Kept him out of action early in the season.
Good look at Neil Anderson, number 35 out of Florida. Excellent halfback. They'll also try him at fullback this year. Anderson again. Trying to run right behind Covert and Emery Moorhead. Doesn't get much. Good look at Sweetness. Walter Payton on the sideline.
Could be that he might join George Halas as the only other man in the NFL to own an NFL team. The city of Oakland, led by the mayor Lionel Wilson, wants to back Payton as a minority owner for the new Oakland franchise. NFL is interested because it wants blacks in the front office, and the league wants to get antitrust exemption in Congress with a new franchise and a black owner. It's terrific PR.
Walter's interested because he can afford it. 2nd and 8 for Chicago at the Miami 36. Ortega, the man in motion. Sanders. It's up about 4, maybe 5 yards.
They like Tom Sanders, Dick, don't they? Relentless, physical football player.
Yes, and
very
right
explosive.
Right now he's playing halfback, and they're trying Neil Anderson at fullback. The only problem they think with Neil Anderson at fullback is that quick step. He's like a strider, they say. And they're just wondering if he's quick enough to get to the line of scrimmage with that long stride of his, but I don't see no problem with it.
Another new wide receiver in the ball game, Ken Knapsick, number 90 out of Northern Iowa. He's flying to the top of your screen on 3rd and 5 for Tomczak. Gentry on the delay, and Gentry diving for the first down. And we'll have to see where it's marked. Donovan Rose comes up from a free safety spot to get in on the stops, and it looks like they'll have to measure for this one.
You notice the pacing of the game is different from what it was a year ago. It really seems that the game moves along. That's probably because of the new 40-second rule. At the end of a play, they literally start the clock at 40 seconds and count down.
Instead of 30.
Instead of 30. And they get things moving a lot quicker. They say that'll cut 8, 10, 15 maybe minutes out of a game. Just short.
You can see it's just short. Of course, in this situation, the clock is set at 25 because there has been an unusual stoppage of play. So the offense will have 25 seconds from this point to run the play. And we'll see what Mike Ditka wants to do on 4th and inches.
Being only a preseason game, I don't see the Fridge running in there in that backfield. So maybe when they get a little closer to the goal line, bring the Fridge in.
The Fridge is slimmed down, my friend.
That's right.
He's about 320 and a 318?
Somewhere around there.
Boy.
Got 3 tight ends in there, and big Calvin Thomas, number 33, at 245 pounds, along with Anderson. Anderson with Thomas leading it. He dives, and it looks like he got it.
Yeah, I think he got it.
Little did a good job diving under there to stack him up. This drive has been 6 plays so far, all on the ground.
Up and over here for Neil Anderson. He is a good leaper, by the way. Maybe one of the best athletes, save for maybe Payton, on this football team. Well, let's take a look at the other athletes on the sideline. There he is, the Fridge, down to a svelte 320. Size 60 coat, size 23 ring, the size of a $50. Unbelievable.
1st and 10. Sanders is back in there along with Anderson. And Tomczak wants to throw. And in and out of the hands of Emory Moorhead. Good defense that time by the Dolphins. Jackie Shipp was right there.
See, well, see that now that's what gets Ditka makes his hair gray, because it looked to me there were 2 people covering that receiver.
Yeah.
Tomczak still tried to drill it in there. Look at Mike.
Not a happy man sometimes on the side.
So Tomczak just got some way, like, throughout the game he'll get in that doghouse.
Good play by Shipp, who was sometimes thought I was a scapegoat down here. More to go in motion. 4-man rush. Tomczak forced out of the pocket as Brodzinski came after him. Throws sideline. Moorhead again. That one appeared to be a little behind him, but then sailed right by as Glenn Blackwood came over uncovered.
Had good movement that time. Pretty mobile that time, Dick, I thought. He just didn't complete the pass.
Just get it there.
It might be fair to say Ditka was not a fan of Tomczak's last year, right?
Well, a lot of people were, because he wasn't that big of a draft choice at Ohio State.
Right.
They're not noted for pumping out quarterbacks. So he had to struggle and he had to work. But I tell you what, the kid's got guts. He's working at it.
Tomczak 3 out of 7, 13 yards in the ball game, and faces 3rd and 10 from the Miami 27. Little mix-up on the snap. Flags are down everywhere. It looked like everybody moved but the center, Larry Rubens.
False start, number 68.
And that will cost them 5 more. They call a false start on Paul Blair, number 68 out of Oklahoma State. Doug Flutie on the sideline. Number 14 is Jim Harbaugh out of Michigan.
Flutie, I think, has been struggling in the last couple of weeks.
Yes, he has. The problem with Doug and his size, we discussed this. If you can, teams try to contain him because he cannot see a receiver going in the mid-range, in the middle of the field. He has trouble picking up those receivers, and we'll get on that later when he appears in the scheme.
3rd and 15 now for Tom Zach and the Bears. 4 wide receivers in the ballgame. Pumps and throws over the middle, and it's complete. Knapsack makes the catch. Knapsack stopped at the 24-yard line. Don McNeil, number 28, makes the tackle on the first-year man out of Northern Iowa.
Going to be way short.
Here's McNeil, who has spent most of his career with injury problems. Very talented player, and we'll get our first look at Kevin Butler, who will come on and try to tie it with the field goal.
68% field goal success last year, but a little bit off. Won 3 games with last-second field goals last year.
This will be a 42-yard attempt for Kevin Butler. And a flag goes down.
I think the Dolphins offsides.
Not unusual in the first 1 or 2 preseason games to see a lot of penalty flags. Offense against, or offside against Miami, so this maybe will be a decision. It'll bring up 4th and 2.
Well, the fridge is on the field, so you won't have to run off and on. They elect to use him.
And you just saw the motion from Mike Ditka.
You know, speaking defensively, when it's 4th and 1, of course, this is a little longer, and they're going to go for it. They're going to kick it.
Field goal.
But I tell you what, when you're on defense, they have 4th and 1 to go. That's a choke.
37-yard field goal attempt now. And Butler got it. 37-yard field goals for both ball clubs. We're tied at 3 with 8:35 to go in the first half.
Diet for the fridges worked. Watch us slim down, number 72, Bill Perry, as the ball is snapped. Here he is, moving out with his man. Number 22, Dewerson, the safety, pushes the play back into Perry, and there he is. Real defense, good tackle. He's a football player.
Allie, thanks very much. Second quarter, 3-3, Chicago, Miami. Butler to kick off to number 23, Troy Stratford out of Boston College, and Scott Schwades, number 81. Both rookies. Schwades out of Syracuse. These guys will give them something on special teams. Taken by one of the up men across the 20, and no more. That's Tom Brown, the rookie fullback out of Pittsburgh. An 8-yard return. The Dolphins will start just outside their own 20. 8:27 to go in the half. We're tied at 3.
Makes the tackle for the Chicago Bears. First and 10, 21.
3-3 second quarter, and that's a good look at Jim Jensen, the 7-year veteran out of Boston University, who's in the ball game. John Offerdahl, the outstanding Dolphin linebacker, has been taken to the locker room with a strained shoulder. Update on him too. Joel Williams makes the catch at the 35-yard line, driven out of bounds by Jim Morrissey, number 51, and the rookie out of Notre Dame, whose hands are the question mark, makes the grab.
Joel for press, he says, and Joel, he says, for the ladies. That's the correct pronunciation. I want to finish my thought on the defense because Marino was hurt before. Where is the destruction, Dick? Where's the humiliation Mike Royko asked for this defense?
Well, it's not there, but the reason Vince went to that defense is to give some help on the corners because it's just tough to cover man-to-man all day long.
New running backs in there. This is Konechny, and he fumbles the exchange. Covered quickly by Dick Chapura, number 94. Konechny out of Alma College.
This is about the second bad exchange. I mean, we talk about preseason. They don't have their signals down, but Marino went out with an injury before on a bad exchange, this time on a handoff. And this appeared right now it was mostly the back's fault.
He was just looking up, looking where he was going to go.
2nd and 9. Jensen throws near sideline and complete to Fred Banks out of Liberty University. He's covered by Eric Jeffries, but a good toss that time by Jensen. Looked like he took a little off and fit it right in there to Banks. Banks is in there with Stanley Shakespeare, number 9, out of the University of Miami. And Jensen comes to the sideline.
Freddie Banks pretty impressive at the Dolphins minicamp. They didn't give him much of a shot to making this football team as a free agent, but he's raised a few eyebrows. He's got a pretty good shot at getting this point, making all this work.
Very acrobatic receiver. They said he made one catch, I believe, in minicamp. It was so good that Don Shula applauded from the sideline, and that happens about once every 25 years.
Haley's Comet, yeah.
Woody Bennett checks into the ball game as they'll go for it on 3rd and short. Bennett, the blocking back, and the Dolphins have a first down across their own 45-yard line. ESPN's presentation of the National Football League is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By the financial professionals at Payne Weber Incorporated. By Extra Strength Excedrin, the headache medicine from Bristol Myers. 6 minutes, 38 seconds, and counting in the first half of play from Miami. We're tied at 3. The Dolphins have the football at their own 37. Jensen, blitz coming. Tries to roll out of pressure and throws deep. Looking for Shakespeare, and Shakespeare got away with a little shove there. He was being covered by Maurice Douglas, a safety who can also play corner, and just gave him a little chuck in the back.
This might have been an offensive interference call. Look at that. He's right there.
Sure.
He's pushing the defender right there. The ball's over his head right there. That's Stanley Shake out of Miami.
What the heck?
That's it. Stick up for the defense like this.
Jim Jensen does not get a chance to play too much quarterback. Guns it over the middle. Nice catch by Shakespeare to the Chicago 40-yard line. Swarmed under there. Todd Bell, number 25, in on the stop. Jensen rifled that one, and Shakespeare grabbed it. Played with the Browns in 1986 after being on injured reserve.
He's a 2-year starter for the Hurricanes. Has made 75 catches, over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns in his career. And a guy named Testaverde used to throw down. How's Vinny going to do in his first year, Dick?
Huh. By the looks of the game the other night, he's going to do all right.
He unloaded in a hurry down there. 1st and 10. Jensen on a delay to Ricky Isom out of North Carolina State. He'll get maybe 2. Todd Bell makes the stop. Now, Mike Richardson not with the ball club. He is a holdout. Bell did that in '85 and did not play at all because he couldn't come to terms. And the indication is Richardson may not be back this year.
Yep. Mike did go. I mean, he's not even planning on having him back the way it goes as far as the negotiations are going, which puts the Bears defense of backs in a little bind because they got Vesti and Taylor on the corners, and I think they're going to try Sean Gale at corner. And they really want to keep him at safety.
Lost Leslie Frazier, who's now with the Eagles because he couldn't pass his physical with a bad knee. Jensen under pressure. Got away from the sack, trying to unload, and does, and completes it to Konechny. Oh, what a job by Jensen. Being chased all over the place by Will Johnson.
I was going to say, this guy has a very, a great deal to contribute, but basically it's because he's such a versatile athlete. He played on special teams. People say, well, that's got to be the first time in history a quarterback played on special teams. Not true. Gary Hogeboom played on special teams for the Cowboys. But Jensen dumping it off, doing a good job of scrambling and getting a first down.
Joe Theismann played on special teams for the Redskins.
By the way, not first down, 3rd and short.
3rd and 3, 4:53 to go. First half of play, we're tied at 3. Jensen out of the shotgun against the blitz. Throws complete. Rose couldn't hold it. Joe Rose, the tight end, couldn't hold it, and that has to go credit to Eric Jeffries, who really gave him a shot.
Now, this is what the Chicago paper said about the defense last year. The difference of last year and the year before is the difference between a woof and a purr. The animals, they said, were wearing dentures. This time, the teeth were in there, right, Dick?
That's right. Eric Jeffries made a nice hit.
Fuad Reveiz will come on to try to give the Dolphins the lead. They'll spot it at the 41, so it's a 51-yard attempt. He earlier hit from 37. Remember, Strock is the holder. Reveiz has plenty, but it's wide. There is a flag down, however. Reve's had plenty of distance, but hooked it wide, and the delay against Miami.
No play. Delay of the game. Offense. No play. No play.
So the Bears, in all likelihood, would decline the penalty and take the football.
I would think so.
Well, they called the delay before the snap of the ball, so now they won't get the opportunity to try a 56-yard field goal, and they'll bring in Reggie Roby to punt it away. And Don Shula is upset. Dolphins have a trouble with kick snappers because Larry Lee, who usually does the job, is gone.
He up and retired, right?
Walked away. Tim Jesse is deep. Roby, who had a 31-yard punt his first try. We'll have to try to pooch this one a little bit. And snap. Flag goes down, and Roby kicked it straight up the elevator shaft. And gets the big bounce.
Get out.
Bears touched it. The Chicago Bears touched that football. The Dolphins appeared to cover it, but the official signals that it is going to go to the Chicago Bears.
We've also got a flag on the field, too.
Now, that was a strange play.
That ball was kicked straight up in the air. I mean, I'm talking straight up. No distance.
Well, it looked like Roby had a fungo bat on that one.
But I
think the Bears definitely touched the ball. Look at this right here.
I can't understand what this guy's doing here.
He didn't. Oh, sure, he touched the ball.
That's McCray, and the Bears recovered it.
That's what it was.
Pile of Dolphins on top. And it will be a first down for the Chicago Bears with 4:33 to go in the first half of play. And we'll be back with the last 4:33 from Miami in just a moment. We're tied at 3 in the second quarter. 4 minutes and 33 seconds to go. Mike Patrick, Roy Firestone, and Dick Butkus. We're in the brand new Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. This is Mike Tomczak, the quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Plenty of time. Sideline complete. 35. And it's Lou Barnes out of the University of Oregon. Only had 4 catches all of last year. Hope he's going to provide some.
There he is once again. $3 million. He's just cooling off a little bit. $3 million in endorsements in 1986. Coca-Cola, Kraft, McDonald's, Pontiac, Georgia Pacific, Rath Bacon, Tesco supermarkets. Got $7,500, folks, to attend a bar mitzvah.
There's a fan.
In 1986.
First and 10 Bears from the 35. Tomczak to throw again. Dumps it out to Anderson. Anderson to the 40-yard line. Nice move for Anderson. Mark Brown, number 51, in on the stop for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, that time it looked like Tomczak checking it off a little bit, dumping off to his running back, not forcing it that time.
Well, he has to learn patience and to go along with the other things that he's been working on. And, that's what I mean. Sometimes he looks good, sometimes not so good.
Bears playing without starting right tackle Keith Van Horn, starting center Jay Hildenberg, both out with injuries. Some of the starters going to have to play most of the night. Gentry right in the stomach, couldn't hold it, and he took a shot from Lifford Hobley. Well, that ball was on target.
Now, Dennis Gentry is going to pay for it. Don McNeil on the coverage at the top here. This is a guy that's basically a converted running back. Most dangerous working in the slot. Look at the hit. Boom, right there. Hobley. It may have been a late hit, possibly. Yeah. Not a consistent deep threat, though. That's one of his problems as receiver.
3rd and 5. Tomczak now 6 out of 11, 39 yards. He's had a couple drop. Here comes the blitz. Jackie Schiff on the rush, and he gets rid of it to Ortego. Ortego across the 50 to the Dolphin 48-yard line. Don Brown out of Maryland made the stop. Good patience by Tomczak.
Keith Ortego coming off a shoulder problem last year. Not really a starter, but he's come up with some better routes, and they like that in practice thus far.
I forget what game last year he broke out of it, caught a couple or a game-winning touchdown pass against Minnesota. Very quiet kid, gets the job done.
Fighting for a job.
That's for sure.
Started in place of Dennis McKinnon when McKinnon was on the sideline with the knee injury. Ball spotted at the 49. Tim Reitman, the big tight end, down to the 45-yard line, stacked up by Larry Kolick, number 54, and Andy Hendel, number 90.
Was this guy a stand-up comic, Tim Reitman? Did I hear that? Is that right?
Well, I don't think you have to worry about it. Yeah, right. No, he's been working at it.
With Tom Dreesen. He works
right.
in one of the Chicago clubs in
yeah,
clubs.
UCLA guy.
They're all flaky, the UCLA guys, right?
And we've reached the 2-minute warning. As you look at Jim McMahon on the sideline for the first time ever, he is signaling in the plays tonight. And we'll be back for the final 2 minutes of the first half in just a moment. Unfortunately for Dolphin fans, we have some bad news to pass along. Dan Marino has dislocated the ring finger on his passing hand. We will certainly not see him tonight. There is no projection as to how long he might be out. Sometimes you recover very well from that. Sometimes it takes longer.
And John Offerdahl with a strained right bicep, too. He's out of the game.
Bears with the ball, 2nd and 5 inside the 2-minute warning. Sanders with a ground level catch. No, it's ruled incomplete.
I want to talk about the impact of Marino's loss would have at the team. There's obvious implications here. Last year, every 7 passes Marino completed went for a touchdown. 20 more touchdowns than the number 2 guy, Ken O'Brien. And this guy has just been devastating. In fact, in his first 4 years, Marino has thrown 56 more touchdown passes than any Hall of Famer in his first 4 years. Losing Marino is just devastating. I don't know how long they're going to lose him for. Could be 2-3 weeks maybe, but they're going to lose him, and that hurts.
Good look at Don Shula on the sideline as the officials have stopped the clock with 1:39 to go.
One thing I want to say about Shula is he works with a very positive approach. When Greasy broke his leg in '72, Shula had no doubts that Earl Morrall would get the Dolphins at least through the playoffs and up to the Super Bowl. Bobby Bethridge said he just doesn't dwell on negative news. He's a very positive guy. That's one of the reasons he went to a record 3 consecutive Super Bowl appearances, as well as the 6 overall.
3rd and 5 now for Tom Zach and the Bears. 4 wide receivers in here. Anderson slipping out of the backfield. They throw over the middle, complete to Gentry. Gentry to the 32-yard line. That's a first down. Stopped by Trell Hooper, number 45, out of Memphis State. Tom Zach, I think, on the whole, has thrown the ball very well here in the first half.
What do you think, Dick?
I think he's doing all right. I'm sure Mike's kind of I think that one time he tried to drill it in between 2 defenders, but you know, sometimes you get a little impatient playing under Mike.
Bear official told me that he needed corrective therapy, as he put it, for his drop back. Just hasn't been doing the job in the drop back mode. That he's a good rollout guy on the run kind of thing.
Right.
He's got to stay in the pocket and drop back.
He has a tendency to scramble around a lot, but again, that comes from being a young quarterback trying to learn, you know, the offense, and trying to be able to read an NFL defense, which is it's different.
Yep.
In his case, he probably started forgetting about the fundamentals of how to throw the ball. And like we said before, he's working on it, and I think he should do a good job. He lets Mike's comments roll off his back like a duck, so he's a gutty little kid.
Tom Zach has hit 4 straight, 7 of his last 8 for 54 yards. Anderson. Oh, nice play.
Doug Betters.
Mark Brown and Doug Betters. Brown really played off a block, did a nice job.
There's the guy, Mark Brown, who replaced Hugh Green last year when Green went down with that terrible knee problem.
Hurry up offense with 1:10 to go. Brown on the blitz. They'll dump it off to Anderson. He's got a screen on the right-hand side. The Dolphins defensed it very well and just ripped his helmet off. That was Mark Brown again, who was headhunting and grabbed Anderson around the helmet, just ripped that baby off.
That's something out of Butkus' school, huh?
Well,
just rip that helmet right off.
Well, Rick Graff was over there. Was that second round draft choice linebacker out of
you see that?
Wisconsin.
What was that? There was a holding right there in that play, too.
No.
Yeah.
Was it?
Looked like it.
Robert Soule, number 65, had a big handful of Dolphin jersey. And here you saw Brown grab the helmet and just throw it away.
Alex Carter was being held on the play, too, I thought. 91.
Bears called a timeout, so Mike Ditka can talk to Tom Zach with 57 seconds left in the first half.
By the way, second half we'll see Flutie and Harbaugh, and that should be real interesting. I want to get your opinions on that, Buckus.
Coming up at halftime, we hope you'll stay with us because Chris Berman will have highlights of the Giant-Patriots game, everything else that's going on in sports. We'll also have a live interview with NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle. Ali Sherman will analyze the first half with his ISO cam, and we will have Burt Reynolds live in the booth. 3rd and 9 with 57 seconds to go from Mike Tomczak. Out of the shotgun. 5-man rush. They don't get to him. And Gentry dropped it again, and this one's intercepted. Picked off by Lifford Hobley of the Miami Dolphins. And that is the second one that Dennis Gentry had right in his hands and couldn't hold. A 21-yard interception return for the Dolphins. Their second interception of the night.
All right, you're going to see Gentry on the isolation. He'll be on the inside right here. This ball was just plain tipped up into the air.
Well, it seems to me, and we'll see on the replay, if he's trying to catch it in his chest instead of his hands. Curls in nicely. See what I mean? He's holding his elbows back and trying to catch it in his chest, and, you know, just bounce off his shoulder pads. Got to catch it with your hands.
Dolphins with 45 seconds to go. Planned rollout for Jensen. Jensen stays on his feet across the 40-yard line. Flag goes down. They hit him out of bounds, and that will cost him 15 yards as Ron Rivera made the hit.
Yeah, about 39 seconds left to try to get something rolling here. Shula wants something, too.
Jensen, a tough kid. He's a receiver. And we'll take a look at the hit. Once that guy's out of bounds, you can't hit him.
Oh, yeah, that's a late hit.
He's out of bounds, and Rivera took his shot.
You see what happened? He ducked his head down, and he didn't see him actually out of bounds. Want to deliver a good shot, you got to put that head down. Right?
You like an occasional good shot, right?
Just turn it a little bit
extra
to the side.
something, yeah.
39 seconds left, first half. Dolphins on the move at the Bears 46. Jensen has replaced the injured Dan Marino, who dislocated the ring finger on his throwing hand. A little dump off to Mark Konechny. And Konechny gets to the Bears 36 before Eric Jeffrey stops him. Clock running. You see it in the lower right-hand portion of your screen. And Miami will stop it with a timeout.
That would be a Konechny connection, right?
Yes, it would.
They don't write these for me, folks.
Jensen has really acquitted himself very well here in the first half in his substitute role for Dan Marino. We expect to see Jim Carsados, the rookie out of Ohio State, playing in the second half.
There'll be 2 Ohio State quarterbacks in the same game.
That's right.
In the NFL.
And that kid's a little came to camp kind of big, isn't he, for a quarterback?
Jim Carsados came in at 256, fans. This is a quarterback now. 256. He dropped 40 pounds the last 3 weeks. I asked Shula, well, what's he eating? He dropped 40 pounds. He said, not much.
29 seconds to go in the half. We're tied at 3. Jensen, 6 out of 8, 52 yards. Carsados without the helmet. Jensen getting real good protection from that offensive line, and deep. Had a man out there, and it's intercepted. It's picked off by Eric Jeffries. Jeffries downed in the end zone. The pass was intended for Fred Banks and underthrown.
That was a nice play.
Nice play defensively.
Yeah.
I think Jensen kind of hung it up there a little bit. I think if that other guy, that number 13, was in there, that ball would have been right there.
Yeah, it was a balloon here.
It was just like it was like his first pass. It was kind of high.
Yeah.
Same thing. See how it kind of is what they call the old duck. Not quite a duck, but
you know, Jensen only threw 2 passes in the regular season last year. I mean, one more time.
Well, I wonder if they let him know about Marino's finger. They start warming that old right arm up.
Look at this. Freddie Banks, he must have had 3 steps on this guy.
So with 20 seconds to go, the Bears have the football back. Looks like they just want to run out the clock with Anderson. Took a shot, gets up to the 25-yard line. The clock continues to run. 3 years ago, Marino dislocated the first finger next to the thumb. Tonight, it was the ring finger on his right hand.
Had to be from the snap, I guess, wouldn't you say?
I think it had to be. And there is Jensen leaving the sideline for the Miami Dolphins. It's been a quick and reasonably well-played first half. 3-3, the end of the first half, Chicago and Miami from the Joe Robbie Stadium. We're at halftime, and that means we're going to check in with Chris Berman.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, and we look forward to an exciting second half as well as low scoring. That's what you might expect in a Bears game, preseason or whatever. But the Dolphins, maybe that's a different story. But with Marino hurt, we shall see. And we'll have more on Marino's injury a little bit later in our halftime. Later on, we'll go back to Joe Robbie Stadium, talk to the commissioner, Pete Rozelle. We also will talk to our coach, Allie Sherman, about the first 30 minutes and some observations that he has. First, today was the day that the defending champions started the long haul that they hope ends in San Diego in late January, just as last season ended in Pasadena. We're talking about the New York Giants, and they opened up their preseason up the road from their Pleasantville, New York training digs. They opened up in Foxborough, Massachusetts. They took on the defending AFC East champs, the New England Patriots. And the curious were out at Sullivan Stadium, and they saw Steve Grogan start the game, play the first half for the Patriots, and his favorite target over the years, the steamer, Stanley Morgan, 18-yard TD. Eason did not play in this game. Ramsey played in the second half for New England. The Giants trail 7-3. This is why they have training camp, even for the champs. Sims to Lee Roussan. No, not a touchdown. Sims looks at the sidelines. Coach, well, what can I say? Parcells says, run that play again. So the Giants go right back kind of to that play. Instead, it's the backup tight end, Zeke Mowat. Caught the TD in the Super Bowl, catches the TD here, and the Giants led 12-7 at the half. Second half, Giants running game looked good. Not Joe Morris. George Adams, he could be a big find. Remember, he missed the playoffs last year, all year with the injury. He had 14 carries, 81 yards. And he also had a touchdown right here. The Giants held off the Patriots 19-17. And Coach Bill Parcells talked about Adams in the backfield.
He looked good in training camp. I want to make sure he got the ball, got back in tune with football. I probably overworked him a little bit today, but he had it going, and I thought it was a good chance to build up his confidence and get him all the way back, or at least close to being all the way back, and so I tried to do it.
So Adams and Terry Kennard, the safety who missed the playoffs too, these are regulars that the Giants will have in addition to that great roster. And also they drafted all those wide receivers, including Mark Ingram, in the first round. And so the Giants, will they be improved? We shall see. They won today 19-17. And oh, by the way, that very same matchup you'll get accustomed to because it is our ESPN regular season opener as we have Sunday Night Football week 9 through 16. Our game Sunday, November 8th. It'll be New England at the Giants. That's our regular season opener. Oh, by the way, Tony Franklin, the place kicker who led everybody last year in field goals with 32 points, 140, signed late Saturday night just before the Patriots game. They announced it today, believed to be a contract that will pay him more than any kicker in NFL history. 4 years, reported $1.54 million for kicking the football. Busy Sunday on the diamond. Midway through the dog days of August, and Milwaukee's Paul Molitor continues to wield the hot bat. Top of the third inning today, the Brewers and Molitor in Baltimore against the Orioles' Dave Schmidt. Molitor will send one down the right field line, and it plunks in there. It'll be a double. Molitor today went 2 for 5. His hitting streak is now 31. That ties him for the longest hitting streak in the 80s. Kenny Landreau had 31 consecutive games back in 1980. Molitor now 31 and counting as Milwaukee beat Baltimore today by the score of 6-2. Elsewhere in the American League, Toronto over Chicago 6-4. Lloyd Mosby had 3 hits, including a home run. George Bell had his 100th RBI. Detroit beat Kansas City on the road 10-6. So the Tigers stay a half a game behind Toronto. The Yankees, though, 3 back now in the AL East. They fell at home against Cleveland 1-0. The Yankees are stumbling. They've lost 11 of their last 15. Over in the AL West, Minnesota got a 5-hitter through 8 innings from Frank 101 Strings Viola. They beat Seattle 5-1. Their lead over Oakland remains at 4 because Oakland won at California by a score of 9-6. Big game for Canseco. Boston over Texas 12-2. The rookie Marzano had 2 homers. In the National League, the Reds won at San Diego 2-0 as Sasky had 2 home runs. And the Giants beat the Dodgers 1-0 in 10 innings. And so the Reds and the Dodgers stay in a flat-footed tie for first place over in the NL West. We will continue with more baseball in just a moment. But right now, let's go back out to Miami as Mike Patrick is with the commissioner, Pete Rozelle. Mike.
Chris, thanks very much, and it's an honor for us to have Pete Rozelle with us here at halftime for our first game ever of the NFL on ESPN. Certainly a pleasure for us to be here and knowing that we're going to be involved in the National Football League for the next 3 years.
Well, we're sure looking forward to it. We think the fact that NFL football is on ESPN and all the additional pregame and postgame special shows you're doing can do a lot for us promotionally.
I hate to bring up a nasty word that I know you would never like to hear said in anger again, and that's strike. There is a possibility, I guess, anytime there is not a bargaining agreement signed. Gene Upshaw says there's been no progress.
I think the bargain agreement, of course, expires August 31. And I think it's clear that neither the owners nor the players want to strike. We're not challenging one another. Probably just sitting down and closing a deal. I think both sides are reluctant to say, well, I might go for this until they know what the whole package is. And somehow we're going to crack through that, have to crack through that. But I think that eventually they will reach agreement.
Now, I know after the last strike, both sides said that they thought it was a mistake. They shouldn't have done it for the good of the game. Is that your position right now?
I think they feel that today, right.
The idea of drugs throughout our entire society, and of course it's hit the NFL just like it's hit everything else. And now we have the problem of steroids. They're banned this year, I understand?
Yes, we tested for the first time on steroids on the preseason physicals. And they're bad for the players long range. All the things that can happen that medicine has found that can happen to them. It's really dangerous. And we don't want the players after their football careers to be subjected to some of these various ailments that can come from using steroids.
We've seen Dan Marino be injured here tonight. You've got another new great quarterback in the league, Testaverde. It looks like he's going to pack him in Tampa.
He apparently had a very big fourth quarter last night, from what I heard.
The state of the NFL right now, sold-out stadiums everywhere, a lot of games on television. People want expansion franchises. Is that on the horizon?
Yes, I would hope that things go well in court so that we have some court cases with litigation behind us. I would hope to, next league meeting, appoint an expansion committee, and we would be adding 2 teams, I hope, in the next, say, 3-4 years.
I'm sure those cities will be very happy and a lot behind them waiting for the next expansion.
We hope so.
Mr. Commissioner, thank you very much for being here. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back right now to our halftime show in our studio, and Chris Berman will be back for the second half in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. And it has been a fun first half. Not a lot of scoring, but we shall return with our coach, Allie Sherman, and much, much more as the Bears and the Dolphins are at the half tied at 3-all. We'll return in a moment.
Of halftime is being brought to you by the Acura Legend and Integra, exclusively at your Acura dealer.
Halftime of our ball game from Miami, the Dolphins and Bears knotted at 3-all, and Allie Sherman has been in our special video center watching all sorts of angles of the first half. And Coach, I know you've been taking a close look at Miami's defense. Good, bad, or indifferent? How do you see it?
It's good, Chris. It's a new look and a new philosophy. Let's take a look at a play right now that shows that. Hey, look at here. Bump and run. Look at these backs right up on the receivers. You haven't seen Miami do that for a long time. This is Oliver Dottie's new philosophy. Ball is snapped. There's real good penetration. Right now, we're looking at linemen who are in there deeper than any time I remember last year from the Dolphins. However, they haven't got the parts together. The linebackers have dropped too far. And, of course, Tomczak makes the run. But you did see a passer in trouble. And, hey, that's a little strange. That's a little strange for a Miami defense. I like it, and I think Shula and Oliver Dottie have done big things with defense. Okay, let's take another look here at George Little. This is short yardage. But here you will see penetration by a Miami lineman that you haven't seen in a long time, and I think it stands up to what we were talking about earlier. This team, no matter what the firepower on offense is, need a defense. There's Little coming right through, and he upends that back. That's very strong defense, and only the good defensive clubs have shown this. I think everybody has been watching. Now, let's take a look at this one, and you're really going to like it. We're going to take a look at Brown and watch him come across, and this is a philosophy that shows linebackers penetrating and coming across the line. You haven't seen linebackers do that other than on ball clubs like the Giants. other ball clubs like the Chicago Bears. That's a page out of the Bear book. I think that Miami is on the right track. I truly do. I truly do. You can't, I must say, I can't say enough good things about what they're doing. Okay. So there it is. And Chris, just like we talked about it before, no team can win it without good defense, no matter what that firepower and offense is. I think Miami has got a great road to go now.
Well, it looks like they've got a good start. However, no team can win it, I guess, without an outstanding quarterback. And let's take a look at some anxious moments earlier for Don Shula, because in the second quarter, on a 2nd and 6 situation, Marino fumbles a snap. Otis Wilson of the Bears just jumps on him trying to get the ball. Now watch what happens in number 13. Marino gets up, and he holds his passing hand, which already is trouble. He has dislocated a ring finger on his passing hand. Now, what that means as to how far he is out, nobody knows, but Jensen quickly grabbed the helmet, went in, didn't look too bad in the second half. But Jensen and very few people are Dan Marino. And, Allie, what do you think is going through Shula's mind when he sees Marino come over to the sidelines holding his passing hand?
Well, obviously, he's got to look at that a little negatively, Chris, but let me tell you this, though. He's been there, and he's been there a long time, and we all know in coaching there's one thing you can't control. Well, there's two things you can't control. Rain, somebody bigger than us, and injuries. What he started to think of, and I'm sure, knowing Shu, what he started to think of is, okay, how long do I think he's going to be out, and what do we do to keep this club on track at this stage of the season until he comes back?
All right, Coach, and maybe later on they'll let you and I sit in the same room. We'll look for your observations.
That's all right. I missed
in the second half, and wouldn't it be interesting if Easton got hurt for New England, Marino is hurt for a while for Miami, and the AFC East comes down to Strock and Grogan. We're not wishing injuries on anybody, just a thought. Back with Burt Reynolds down at Miami in just a moment with the Bears and Dolphins tied at 3. We would like to remind you that after the second half, we'll have the 1 Hour Sports Center with Gail Gardner and the inimitable Tom Mees. Allie and I will see you on that one as well. They'll go over baseball, golf, tennis, and everything else. But right now, let's travel that longest yard and join Roy Firestone, who's with Burt Reynolds. Roy.
Thank you very much, Chris. Behind us, entertainment, etc., providing the entertainment here at Joe Robbie Stadium. And the guy that provided years, and still does, years of entertainment, was once upon a time a gridiron star at Florida State University. Yes, this is the picture of number 46. This is why, folks, he was an Indian in a lot of movies early in his career, right here. They called him Buddy Reynolds. This is the longest yard. This is the longest run from scrimmage for Buddy Burt Reynolds. Who's this against?
It's against the University of Auburn. The guy that tackles me is a guy named Fob James, who later became the governor of Alabama. When he talks about this particular tackle, he never mentions who it was he tackled because it doesn't sound terrific to tackle some movie actor.
Caught from behind, I might add, too. You should have had a touchdown here.
I should have had 6, but I was reading the headline as I was running.
Now take a look at the numbers, too. I mean, the numbers were real impressive. 19 rushes, 146 yards, a 7-yard average. Every time you put your hands on the ball, 7 yards?
Every time. But then again, I was a freshman. That was in the days. I'm surprised that they showed that one because, I played when we had no helmets and the ball was round.
Once upon a time, not too long ago, this was a part owner of the Tampa Bay Bandits. Want to get back into owning, maybe, in the NFL?
I'd like to get back into owning, but the money for the NFL teams, is a little large. $70 million for a franchise.
Yeah. I think there are 5 stages to humility as a public person. It starts with this. Who is Burt Reynolds? Get me Burt Reynolds. Get me one like Burt Reynolds. Get me a young Burt Reynolds. Then who's Burt Reynolds, right? Is that how that works?
I think we're at give me a young Burt Reynolds at this point.
What about humility, both as a public figure and as a sporting figure? Is it any different, in terms of, getting rejected?
I think it's very much the same. The difference is that I have a little longer career than an NFL back or lineman, I think. But I see these guys. I know an awful lot of them. Some of them are very good friends of mine, and it's a very tough adjustment to come from this kind of adoration to walking into some place and say, didn't that used to be Joe Theismann?
Right. By the way, I'm the only one I know that does a Burt Reynolds laugh impression. You ready?
I'm ready.
This is my Burt Reynolds laugh impression.
Okay.
Is that it?
Very close, very close. You have to be, well, I won't tell you what you have to squeeze in order to get the right laugh.
Number 46, Buddy Burt Reynolds from Florida State University joining us at halftime. We'll take it back to Chris Berman. We'll return from Joe Robbie Stadium right after this.
Set for the third quarter. Here are the halftime statistics, and you can take a look. Pretty even up and down the line. Miami with a slight edge in the passing department. The rushing statistics go to Chicago. Maybe the big story has been the turnovers, and an even bigger story, Dan Marino with a dislocated ring finger on his right hand.
Burt Reynolds, ironically, told me he's been talking to Bob Greasy, and that Greasy had dislocated his ring finger before, and it only lasts a couple of weeks, and also that Marino wasn't going to play anyway next week. So maybe it's not a very serious injury at that.
Troy Stradford and Scott Schwades deep to receive the kick of John Duvik, who will handle the placements in this half in place of Kevin Butler. Tied at 3. Duvik with a high floating kick. And it's taken by Schwades, the rookie out of Syracuse. 30. 40-yard line. Excellent return by Scott Schwades, and that's exactly why they took him out of Syracuse, a 34-yard kickoff return.
If there is a knock on Schwades, it is that he doesn't like to work the weight room. You know, he's got all the talent in the world, but lacks the motivation, as we see Jim Carsadas coming in. Scott Schwades, a leaper. He's got 4.5 speed. You know that they're paying guys $100 a day in the offseason now to work the weight room? Above and beyond their salary, $100 a day.
Carsados out of Ohio State, 230-pound rookie quarterback, and he'll keep on the ground across the 45-yard line. Perry is in on the tackle, and Chicago has its first team defense back in there as Troy Stradford gets his first carry.
What do you think about that, Dick? $100 a day just to... You didn't have to do that to motivate yourself.
No, back when I was playing, you know, you just mostly did it on your own, and you came to training camp and tried to get in shape. Now they're offering people to stay in town, work out, and do a little work on the plays. So I guess it's not a bad idea.
Stradford and Ricky Isom are the running backs behind Jim Carsados. And it's Ricky Isom, the second-year man out of North Carolina State, carrying for a couple. Dan Hampton picked him up and planted him.
There he is. Once again, Jim McMahon. Once upon a time, he was in the running for Heisman Trophy and said he should have won the Heisman.
He said he should have?
He said he should have, yeah.
No shrinking violet, certainly.
Yep.
It's amazing when he starts, the Bears win, period. 3rd and 2. Nice play fake. Carsados wants to throw over the middle, has a man out there, short pass, and then caught. Flags go down. James Pruitt made the grab, and Vesty Jackson was all over him. And a great job by Pruitt to come back for the underthrown ball and a 37-yard gain.
And we have a interference call on the play as well. Ball certainly underthrown. Not a well-thrown ball at all.
Defense.
Instead of playing the man, he should have went for the ball. It seemed to me he's much more worried about the receiver than the ball. If he would have went for it, it was another one of those floaters.
Here's the push right there.
He's pushing, grabbing.
Is that obvious or what?
That's the problem the Bears have at cornerback with Mike Richardson out and Leslie Frazier gone.
Right.
Vesty Jackson, a 2-year man out of Washington, just outplayed on that one. 1st and 10, Dolphins. Carsados again, and this time Pruitt tried to come in from the side and was picked off rather well by Reggie Phillips, the corner out of SMU.
Another point I wanted to ask Dick about was the fact that the Bear defense was great. But let's face it, only 5 of their 16 opponents even had a top offense last year. The Bears really weren't tested defensively.
Well, that's what they say.
Oh, come on now. That's right. You got to play Denver, the Raiders, the 49ers, Minnesota twice.
Roy, you got to take the emotional factor playing a Super Bowl champ. I mean,
that's true.
That helps them a little bit.
Tom Brown, number 36, in there at fullback right now. Carsados under a lot of pressure. Guns it near sideline, intercepted. Yes. It's picked up by Reggie Phillips. And Phillips with just a great defensive play, cutting in front of the receiver, and Carsados comes up limping.
Yep. And this might be an opportunity for us to talk about this roughing the passer rule. Now, the rusher is legally allowed only 1 step after the passer has thrown the football. I don't know if Carsados was hit after the pass. If it was, in fact, roughing the passer, he's holding his right knee, it looks like, and he looks like he's in a great deal of pain. Here's the ground level look at it one more time. Now, you cannot make what they call significant contact. The rusher legally allowed only 1 step after the passer has thrown the football.
That was a good hit, Roy, because it was like 1.5 steps.
Otis Wilson took him down. Carsados still on the field. We'll be back with more in a moment. Jim Carsados, the rookie out of Ohio State, on the sideline. Injured left knee, left the field under his own power. Doug Flutie is in at quarterback for the Chicago Bears as they start from their own 9 after the interception. Sanders runs over 1 tackler and gets out to about the 13-yard line. And Mike Lambrecht, the nose tackle, number 69 out of St. Cloud State, made the stop.
One more time. Roughing the passer. The rusher legally allowed 1 step after the passer is thrown, but Carsados had moved out of the pocket, so the play wasn't operative. It looked like the defender putting the pressure on Carsados tried to hold up a little bit. Carsados out with the bum knee right now. He's upset because obviously he's fighting for a job.
Otis Wilson did everything he could not to injure him. And they'll give it to the fullback Calvin Thomas. Thomas plowing for the first down, dragging tacklers with him.
Well, obviously, Carsados won't be going back. The last thing he needs, Dick, is a knee injury, any kind of injury.
No, that's just going to set him back. Right away. And he had an opportunity, possibly, with Marino's finger being injured. I know he's disappointed, but that was a good play by Otis Wilson. You know, he actually tried to hold him up and help out a little bit.
Good look at Flutie. Struggled last year. He admitted he didn't know the plays and was struggling, and they say he's been struggling this year in preseason. Flutie floats that one out there to Sanders. Sanders brought down in a hurry. Donovan Rose, number 26.
All right, your analysis on Flutie.
Well, as I mentioned before, he's all right throwing those out-type patterns or a deep pattern. But if you hold him in the pocket and you have maybe you want to hit a tight end or a back flaring around and coming inside, say in between the hash mark, he has a difficult time because of the big offensive lineman.
McMahon said starting him against the Redskins was a mistake. Was it?
Well, looking at it now, yes. He couldn't hit it. Couldn't hit the middle.
Riley Walton, number 82, is in tight end for Chicago on 3rd and 2. First down, and plenty more out to the 40-yard line. So the Bears doing a job behind a veteran offensive line, which has been forced because of injuries and changes to play most of this ball game. So Sanders is getting some good blocking up front.
Back to the Flutie issue for a moment. Ditka went to the wall for him last year. I would say, Dick, that when you look at it, it was really Mike Ditka on the spot as well as Doug Flutie. Now pretty much he's on his own, right? You agree with that?
Yes, I think so. I don't know what people say they brought him in to get McMahon moving, but he's up on his own now.
Sanders, 4 carries, 24 yards. Morris, the man in motion, and Sanders again. Cuts off left guard. The initial hit made by Bud Brown, the free safety. He slowed him up and then got a lot of help. Charles Bennett, number 93, out of southwestern Louisiana, was also in there. And our Goodyear blimp tonight, the Enterprise from Pompano Beach, Florida. The pilot, Dr. Jim Maloney from Vienna, Virginia, my hometown. And this is the 62nd consecutive year that a Goodyear blimp has appeared at the nation's top sporting events. It's from my hometown. I ought to get a ride, don't you think? Go home. 2nd and 8. Flutie with play action. chased out of the pocket.
That's what he does best.
Midfield, 40 and out of bounds. Good hustle by Flutie. Don McNeil was the man who chased him out of bounds, but he went 19 yards. You know, the thing about it, can you make a living doing this, especially at 5'6" or 5'7"?
Right. I mean, although he's entering his second or third year in the NFL, I mean, he went through college and he was able to adapt some way or another to get the job done. Of course, college defense is a little bit different than the NFL.
Plus, how durable is he? Reggie White put a lick on him in the USFL, knocked him out. We don't know, if he can take a hit.
Yeah.
But that play worked and worked just fine, thanks. 19 yards for Flutie. First down, Bears. 9:47 to go, third quarter. We're still tied at 3. 5-man rush. Flutie under a lot of pressure. Throws incomplete off the hands of Thomas Sanders.
Took a big hit that time. It looked like maybe Doug Betters.
Donovan Rose, pretty good coverage. Glenn Kozlowski, number 88, is into the ball game.
Let's watch on the ISO here just for a few moments. Don McNeil on this play. Dick, is this holding? I mean, it kind of looks like holding. What do you think?
It looks like it.
Take a wild guess.
It's more like strangulation.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
And that was Ken Knapsack, number 90, trying to get free. They'll go with the delay. The Dolphins diagnosed this one very well. First man in there, 93, Charles Bennett. Nice play by him.
The Dolphins, we talked about the Bears having a tough schedule this year. The Dolphins have to play at New England. They have to host the Giants. They go to Seattle. They host Kansas City. They got 4 playoff tough teams in the first 5 games. They got their hands full, too.
Good look at Don Shula, who has to be at least mildly impressed with his defensive effort tonight.
And greatly concerned about his best offensive and best defensive player going out with injuries. 3rd and 8,
Flutie will go to the shotgun. Mike Patrick, Roy Firestone, and Dick Butkus glad you can be with us tonight. 4-man rush for the Dolphins. Flutie throws, and it's complete. Very close to the first down. That's Glenn Kozlowski out of Brigham Young. And the Dolphins secondary closed in a hurry and stopped him about a yard shy of a first down.
What do you think of Flutie so far, Dick?
Well, doesn't it look like he's aiming it? I mean, Mike said he's still having problems just being himself and letting it go. I mean, he got the ball to the receiver, okay, but it sure looked like he was aiming it.
Well, here it is. He's got a shot at 4th down. And
wings behind the offensive tackle, so that's why Paul Blair is playing. Tom Thayer, the right guard, and Bortz, I'd say they're 2 of the better guards in the league. Unknown.
And this is a young offensive line, too. No one over the age of 30.
That's right.
Penalty 1 against Miami. It's 1st and 5. Doug Flutie, the quarterback. Thomas gets about 3.
Calvin Thomas, they like him too. He might have a shot.
Well, he came to camp around, won't quote me, around 245, 250.
I wouldn't quote you. No one's listening.
And
right?
Mike wasn't too happy about that. So he wouldn't let him practice until he lost some weight. So he just stood around training camp.
12th play of the drive coming up, 2nd and 2. Thomas again, first down, first into the secondary, to the 5. Fumble! Dolphins have it. 91, Alex Carter was the first man to the football, and they'll celebrate at Joe Robbie Stadium.
So it was sort of like last year, that they'd move the ball, and then when we get too close to the goal line, something happens. They fumble or whatever. Their turnover rate was a lot different last year than the Super Bowl year.
Nice play by Alex Carter, too. Heads up play, big hit there. Strip ball right there. This guy played for tiny Tennessee State. His best season as a senior. Defensive end, plays a little defensive tackle, too. Jim Jensen now in at quarterback, and I guess he'll be the rest of the way. They don't have anybody else, right? Strock just signed 2 days ago. He's not ready to go.
Although he's a lot like Nat Moore. If he had to, he could go out there and just remember all the plays. That is the 3rd turnovers you see against the Bears. 2 interceptions in that fumble. So the Dolphins will be able to start from their own 6-yard line. Work it out to about the 9. The refrigerator in on the tackle, and the ball carrier, Troy Stradford, the rookie out of Boston College. He's a fine runner. He's always had injury problems, and he's been slowed by tired legs in this camp. Don Shula told us earlier in the week that he thought he finally had his leg strength back and was ready to go.
I'm still fascinated by the fridge and his promotional stuff. You know, he had to negotiate a joint licensing deal with the NFL. He made $300 grand in WrestleMania alone.
Brown and Stradford are the backs. Jensen the throw, completes it quickly to Fred Banks out of Liberty University. Banks covered by Bestie Jackson, the right cornerback. Now Jensen seems to be assuring himself of a spot on the team again this year.
Don Shula. There's the guy.
Aren't many records he doesn't hold.
Oh, he's got the best career winning percentage among the top 10 all time. Only one losing season in 24 years. Coaches, it's best said, work for Shula, not with Shula. He's the guy.
3rd down and a yard for the Dolphins. Try to keep it on the ground, and you can forget it as that big Bear defense led by Steve McMichael and Wilbur Marshall gets in there to stack up Troy Stradford.
I want to talk about the Bear defense briefly here. They're going to try to free up Marshall and Singletary a little bit more this year, Dick, and the linebackers?
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to do the same thing that they did last year. Like we were talking about before, they weren't that domineering, but they were getting the job done. And what they've got to do is maybe improve their turnover rate.
Reggie Roby will punt to Eric Jeffries. There's already an interception tonight on defense. Roby gets a good snap center this time and really banks one out of it. Jeffries at his 29. Has the seam. 45 midfield. Dolphin 48-yard line. Fine return by Jeffries. 23 yards after a 56-yard Reggie Roby punt. 4:36 to go in the 3rd quarter. National Football League is brought to you by the 1987 German-engineered Volkswagens and your local Volkswagen dealers. By Bud Light, everything else is just a light. By UPS, whether it's for overnight letters or packages, UPS runs the tightest ship in the shipping business. Best field position of the night for either ball club as the Bears start at the Dolphin 48. We're tied at 3 with 4:36 to go in the 3rd quarter of play from Miami. Flutie throws and throws behind Tim Jesse out of Auburn. Couldn't quite hold it.
Well, he's back now, back on the bench. Dan Marino with a cast, looks like a cast or a wrap around his hand. He'll break every important passing record at this pace by age 30, they say. It's hard to believe he was the 6th quarterback selected in the '83 draft. A $9 million man, but right now he's on the shelf. A dislocated right ring finger, could be out 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks.
2nd down, 10 yards to go. Flutie gives it to Jesse. He's got Thayer out in front of him. Got a block, but Doug Fetters wrapped him up and dragged him down. Dolphin defense, on the whole, has played very well. A close shot of the pad around Dan Marino's hand. We have not had an official prognosis as yet on his availability in the future, whether he'll be ready for the season's opener or not. You certainly hope for Miami fans and for Marino that he will be ready.
You know, of all ways to get it hurt on a snap.
You know what's so funny about this? This is the first time he came to camp on time, ready to go. You know, he's had contract problems. He had the other injury.
He'll be late next year.
Yeah. Ready to go.
3rd and 8. Morris checking with Flutie for the signal count. Dolphins may have jumped offside. Flags are down, and Flutie gets a free one. Waving a man to go deep. It looks like the old days at Boston College, and he throws short for Sanders.
Looked like a Dolphin jumped offside on the left side.
Mark Brown, I believe, the weak side linebacker.
There you see Jackie Schiff, number 50. There's Mark Brown. Let's see. Were they drawn off? Yeah, they were drawn off, they said.
Offside, number 51 defense.
Offsetting
foul.
And we'll play it over.
Replay the down.
And now they've got the wave going, and what better place than Miami, right?
Noise sure echoes in this place.
Yeah,
huh?
it's loud. I don't think it's as loud as the Orange Bowl was. The fans are a great distance from the field compared to the Orange Bowl, where they were right on top of the field. They got to be 25, 30 yards from the actual playing field.
But they're having a good time at the dedication game. There are the numbers on Flutie, and he faces 3rd and 8 right now. And the fans are just getting louder. Four-man rush. Flutie hangs in the pocket this time, and another one is dropped.
Just dropped.
Boy, the Bears have dropped a lot of balls tonight. Neil Anderson coming out of the backfield, usually a very reliable receiver, and it just hit him in the hands and went straight down.
He kind of looked like he lobbed it a little bit, though. I mean,
Well, it looks to me like he's pointing. It's directing it.
but I don't believe it was really his fault. This ball was just dropped.
Now, see, in front, he had nobody in front of him, so he was able to get the pass downfield or in the middle of the
Yeah,
field.
but Anderson should have had that.
Yeah, he should have had that. Let's get on this case a little bit.
Bears will have to punt it away. Schrader is the center deep man. And it's a bad punt. It'll go out of bounds between the 20 and the 30-yard line. So the Miami Dolphins, with 75,000 home fans cheering them on, have held again, and they'll have the football when we come back.
A strong contender in the NFC West. The Los Angeles Rams, led by 3-time league leading rusher Eric Dickerson, battle the San Diego Chargers. Sunday night NFL football live at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
And joining Roy and I in the booth, Hacksaw Reynolds next week. The Rams and the Chargers, 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll try not to have a car in the booth.
There he is, Jim Harbaugh. He'll be on deck, the quarterback for the Bears.
3:24 to go, 3rd quarter. Jim Jensen running the Miami offense. Toss back to Stratford. Cuts it back up to almost the 34-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Dick Chapura out of Missouri made the stop.
Now, Troy Stratford, I want you to keep your eyes on, folks. This is a 5'8" muscle man. Bobby Beathard of the Redskins said he was sick to death to lose Stratford in the draft. He loves this guy. He thinks he's more elusive than Mercury Morris, though perhaps not as strong. He thinks he's more dangerous a running back than Joe Morris of the Giants. Very quick, terrific receiver, changes directions on the dime. Let's watch him, Troy Stratford.
He has 4 carries for 16 yards so far, and here's his 5th opportunity. Really whacked at the line of scrimmage that time. Looked like Chapura, number 94, in that pile again. The rookie out of Missouri, 10th round draft choice.
Haven't seen much, by the way, of Tony Nathan tonight. This is the guy, Troy Stratford, who will be competing with Nathan for that slot. By the way, we were just told Dan Marino will be out of practice for 4 weeks, which leads us to say that he probably would miss that first game, the first regular season game.
Exactly.
Big loss. Big loss.
2:15 to go in the quarter. 3rd and 2 for the Dolphins. And Jensen will go out of the shotgun. Plenty of time, throws in the flat. Oh, almost intercepted. Ron Rivera, one of the inside linebackers, had his hands on it. Stratford may have done a job at knocking it away from him.
All right, I want to talk about another linebacker. This weekend, Bosworth signs an $11 million contract for 10 years. Dick Butkus, what do you think about that? What do you think about that move? Doesn't play it down. $11 million over a 10-year period. Doesn't play it down.
He's a great player. It just remains to be seen if he can take on people the size of NFL offensive line. He's got the speed, everything else, but it just remains to be seen how he's going to handle those big linemen head on.
Roby did not hit that one very well, and Jeffries will not have a shot at it. Down at the Chicago Bear 40-yard line. Only a 28-yard kick from Reggie Roby, the veteran out of Iowa. 1:53 to go in the corner. Back in a moment.
Hello, Mama. We're here at JFK Stadium, and we're loving every minute of it. We're here in Miami.
2:53 to go in the third quarter from Miami. It's the Bears and the Dolphins still knotted at 3. An unusually low-scoring ball game. Doug Flutie continues as the quarterback for the Bears. Fake to Jesse. Flutie, who loves to scramble, throws this one out of bounds.
Shula.
Nice catch.
Still has the hands. And we get a laugh out of Don Shula. Oh, he was a fine defensive back when he played.
I think he was involved in the largest trade in NFL history, right? Something like 20 players.
Something like that. Flutie, 2 out of 6, 13 yards.
Here it is again. What a catch. Ho! There you go.
And the second cheer you hear is because they're showing this on one of the tell screens here in the stadium, so the fans get another look at it. Flutie back to throw. This time he throws it to one of his own players, and it's Calvin Thomas.
There they are, the Marks brothers. Mark Clayton, Mark Duper. Duper on the left, Clayton on the right. 21 touchdowns between them. Clayton is the more gregarious of the two. Never be mistaken for Harpo Marks, a Marks brother who likes to talk. Duper, a lot more quiet, you know, perhaps a bit more diligent. They're definitely going to miss this guy, no doubt.
Marino, we are told, will miss 4 weeks of practice with that dislocated ring finger on his throwing hand. We hope he can come back before that. 3rd and 5 for Doug Flutie and the Bears. 4-man rush, hangs in a pocket, hit just as he throws, and it's underthrown and incomplete. Intended for Sanders, but Flutie was really drilled as he unloaded that one.
Had guts there on that play, though, Dick.
Yeah, he stood in there.
He really did.
In there and
waited to the very last minute to toss this football. Here it is, and especially right around the
yeah,
well, he could have turned an ankle.
He was throwing it when he was hit.
One thing the Dolphins had desperately hoped for this year is a better pass rush. Yeah. And they've gotten it.
They only had 7 sacks. They only had 7 sacks on the line last year.
Buford with a high snap gets off the poor punch. Schwades was deep, but he'll never have a chance. And Maury Buford knocks it out of bounds short. And now Miami, as they continue to move up, they will mark the ball at the 40-yard line. A 14-yard kick. And there's a good look at McMahon.
Spoke to Jim McMahon earlier today, and we'll talk about this in just a moment. We have a flag on the play.
And it appears it will go against Chicago. And Miami will undoubtedly decline it and take the ball where it is, the 40-yard line.
Ineligible downfield, kicking team, penalty is declined, first down.
So it's 1st and 10 Miami from the 40.
McMahon appraised the situation at quarterback. Could the Bears win without him, I asked. Here's what Jim McMahon said.
Well, they didn't win it last year. You know, I think I do add something to this team. I don't know what it is, but it seems to me like they play with a lot more confidence and have more fun when I'm playing. And I think that's maybe one of the biggest reasons for our success.
Tom Brown, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, on the draw. Dick Chapura makes the tackle, and McMahon is always going to give you his opinion.
Well, there's a look at Jim, and there's a lineman in there somewhere in that body playing quarterback, and that's why people want to play for him.
Yeah.
Because in the 23 games he did start, they won. So he backs up what he says.
2nd and 11. Jensen. Under pressure, unloads over the middle to Brown. Brown at midfield to the Bear 49-yard line. And it was Todd Bell, a former All-Pro, now playing strong safety in place of Dave Duerson. Duerson, incidentally, will start at free safety next week.
Now watch the hit. Watch the hit on Jim Jensen by Dick Chapura right here after he throws the football. He stayed in there too, completing it to Brown. But quarterbacks getting some licks tonight, huh? They're going down like flies.
That rule's not taking effect. You know what I mean? That
not too much.
Two-step rule.
Yeah.
That's the end of the third quarter of play as Miami has the football inside the Bear 50. We're tied at 3, and we'll be back in a moment.
Let's take a look at Miami defense. A veteran lineman like Doug Betters, number 75. Watch Doug when that ball is snapped. Here they come. He fights the block off, pursues the play with a lot of support, as you see here, and he makes the tackle. He hasn't done that in a long time.
3-3 as we start the fourth quarter in Miami. The Dolphins with the football at the Chicago 49. That's quarterback Jim Jensen. Yardage throughout the ball game so far quite even. The big difference in turnovers. The Bears have committed 3. Jensen wants to go deep again. Pruitt. And Pruitt almost made the catch. Todd Bell with the interception. And once again, Miami tries to throw deep, and they underthrow it. And Todd Bell comes off with the INT.
Now, it looks like Todd Bell comes from about the middle of the screen here. He comes over to make the play, maybe back to his old self from the '84 season. He was on thin ice with management, right, Dick?
He was. He held out.
A Slusher client, Howard Slusher?
I don't know.
They don't love Howard Slusher, the agent, attorney. Management doesn't. Nice pickoff, though.
Now, see, if that was the regular Ryan 46 defense, that would have been man-on-man coverage. Maybe Bell would have not been around on that particular play.
Jim Harbaugh has checked in at quarterback. Doug Flutie apparently will go no more, and Harbaugh 1st and 10 from his own 7. Tough place to start. Gets it back to Tim Jesse. Jesse up to about the 12, 13-yard line. The first guy's in on the stop, Brian Sauché, the nose tackle.
There he is, Jim Harbaugh. He's a big kid, 6'3", 200. Unusually started his first college game against Miami and makes his pro debut against another Miami. Now, who do you believe? Some, like the Cowboys general manager Gil Brandt, calls him the second coming of Roger Staubach. Other scouts say he should have never been a #1 pick. What do you think, Dick?
Well, it remains to be seen, but physically and mentally, he's right for the game. He's just got to get a little more patience. It's a little bit different offense than Michigan.
It's a tough kid. They'll get Anderson crossing the 15-yard line. Be about 2 yards shy of a first down.
And what I mean by that is, in Michigan, it was either a rollout or a quick sprint out type pass with maybe one receiver. Here in the NFL, they have a little better defense, and Mike Ditka was saying that he has to learn patience, not to go just to right to one receiver and try to drill it.
He's got the Bears spirit too, right? He tried to pick a fight with Richard Dent.
Well, he slapped Dent in a face mask, and they went at it a little bit. So he's got that little he's got that thing on his back that he wants to go at it.
3rd and 2. Anderson with 25 yards on 6 carries. And Jesse will get a shot at it. And he appears to have the first down. Big number 95, T.J. Turner on the stop.
If McMahon couldn't go, what kind of shot would a rookie have to start the regular season in the NFL, Dick, honestly?
Well, not with the Bears. I mean, you've got to go with Tom Sack probably and Flutie. It'll be between Harbaugh and Flutie. But you know, you get a guy like Vinny Testaverde. I mean, he possibly could start.
We'll have to mention that Steve Fuller is out with shoulder surgery, so they don't have that option. Harbaugh scrambles. 25.
Little guts there, huh? Running out of the pocket there. Especially tonight. With all these guys. Was it guts or was it, was it just foolishness?
No, I don't think.
You have to go for it.
Talking to McMahon and Mike Ditka, he's going to learn that when he does run, he better hit the ground fast to get out of bounds, because he won't be doing that very long.
By the way, speaking of rookies starting in the NFL, remember Dan Marino started as a rookie too.
He did all right. Yeah.
2nd down, 4 yards to go. We're tied at 3. Anderson trying to get outside. Boy, nice job by Don McNeil. Came up from the corner and
this guy's responsibility is going to add up in the next few years, Neil Anderson. Maybe in the next 2, particularly when Walter decides to hang it up. By the way, Walter going to do it for sure. You think this is it? He says he is. I still can't get a word out of him.
I don't think he's going to make a statement now. I don't. He possibly could play next year. I believe if they put him at fullback.
He's in terrific shape.
He's always the best. Look at this. He's in the best of condition all the time. That he's just it's phenomenal that he has played so long and without any major injuries.
Yep. He's 34 next year.
He has that ability, speaking defensively, that you really don't get a good shot at him. You know, he jiggles around and everything else, and you really can't lay the wood to him. And what I like about him, when he hits the ground, he's always moving that ball up. Another 3 yards.
First and 10. Back to the eye this time. Jesse deep man. Harbaugh to throw. Flags are down, and it looked like one of the Bears' offensive linemen moved early. And it was Paul Blair who was playing in place of Keith Van Horn at right tackle. There's a good look at Jim Covert, number 74. He's still in there. So, Dick, those tackles have had to go the entire night.
Yep. And this thing about Keith Van Horn, he said he skinned his foot driving that moped. Jim Harbaugh had that moped also. He fell over twice and was going to give it away after that. He said, that's it.
Testaverde went down on a scooter last year for Miami. He missed a couple of weeks of practice. Stay away from the mopeds.
That's it.
12:02 left in the ball game. We're tied at 3, and it's 1st and 15 now for Chicago. Harbaugh, the rookie out of Michigan. Anderson on the delay up to the 30-yard. Hobley covers him there.
Talking to Walter Payton earlier today about when he finally does have to retire. It will be an emotional time for him. Here's what he said.
Probably be hard. Probably right now I'm channeling my efforts in other directions to kind of lessen the effect or the impact, but it's going to be hard. And I probably won't be the same person for a while, simply because you go through those stages.
Harbaugh on 2nd and 9, 5-man rush under pressure, and they got him from behind. Number 53, David Fry. And there's a flag down. Exactly what the Dolphins want out of that pass rush.
7 yards on the sack.
I want to ask you, Dick, about as we take a look at the infraction here. Isn't it true, though, that the Bears really wanted the linebacker Alex Gordon, at least Ditka did, and that Harbaugh was a selection from McCaskey?
Automatic
that it was
down.
Against Ditka's wishes?
I think so at that time. And then Bill Tobin, along with Mike McCaskey, I guess talked Mike into it. And it was interesting. I was in Chicago after the mini camp, and Mike Ditka went along with it after it happened. And after mini camp, he says the kid really impressed him.
Bears could have also selected a couple of receivers. Mark Ingram of the Giants was available. Ricky Natil, who went to the Broncos from Florida, was available. They could use a receiver too. It was a gutsy call.
Bears got a break, a penalty against the Dolphins. Instead of the sack, they have a first down. Harbaugh airing one out. He's got a man wide open down the sideline. Ron Morris out of SMU. Touchdown, Bears. A 65-yard bomb from Jim Harbaugh to the speedster Ron Morris out of Southern Methodist.
And he is the whole package, the scouts tell me. This guy would have been a #1 draft pick if it hadn't been for a knee injury. He aggravated the knee in the scouting combine, ran a little bit slower, but that time didn't look like he had any problems with the knee injury here. Look at this, just plain beating his defender.
But how do you like to pass? Right on there, right there.
Beautiful, beautiful. From SMU, home of the Mustangs. The Mustangs, by the way, not the horse, but the car that they gave the recruits at SMU. The Mustangs.
That's cold.
Oh, I'll hear from SMU on that. Huh?
Send all your mail to Mr. Firestone in Los Angeles. John Dubik will attempt the point after. He's got it, and if you can hear from the cheers, a lot of Chicago Bears fans here tonight. And Ron Morris touchdown has the Bears up by 7. ESPN's presentation of the National Football League is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By True Value Hardware. More than just a name, it's their way of doing business. And by Allstate. We insure your home, your car, your health, your business, and your life. you're in good hands with Allstate. Finally had some offensive fireworks, and the Bears jump on top 10-3 over the Miami Dolphins. There you see the time remaining in the ball game. Mike Patrick, Roy Firestone, and Dick Butkus with you from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. A beautiful facility, and right now the fans not terribly happy with the way things are going. They've already lost Dan Marino for maybe 4 weeks with a dislocated finger. His replacement, Jim Carsados, comes in off the bench. He hurts his leg, and Jim Jensen probably is going to go the rest of the way to kick off to Schwades, along with Tim Jesse inside the 10. And Jesse gets out to the 28-yard line, 1st and 10.
Let's take a look at the replay one more time here. Jim Harbaugh, number 1 draft pick, airing it out to the number 2 draft pick. This is Ronnie Morris from SMU. Could be the last of the great players, perhaps, from SMU, right? Since they had the death penalty, huh? We may not see another good.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, right. A couple of nice moves. Yeah, there he goes.
They're really impressed. They're really impressed by Morris at camp. He kicked it really fly.
And they
got
can use
hands.
They need him too.
See what the Dolphins could do on offense. 1st and 10 from their own 29, and what they do is jump off sides. It looked like the tight end Joel Williams was the first man off.
See, the Bears can really use a guy like Ron Morris because they've been doubling and tripling Willie Gault. He's really the only speed guy, and with McKinnon's knee problem, they need some firepower.
Right.
And they got it.
Well, McKinnon hasn't been in, since the opening quarter when he dropped that ball. That's what Mike Ditka was worried about, was McKinnon's hand-eye coordination, because he really hasn't caught a ball in a game in over a year. And that one popped right out of his hands.
By the way, the receivers for the Bears, only 208 catches, the 2nd lowest total in the league. They need to pump it up a little bit.
1st and 15 for Miami. Jensen dumps it for Stratford. Nice job of getting away from the first tackler. Gets out to the 29-yard line. Interesting. Keep an eye on the new left tackle in there, number 74, Mark Dennis for Miami. He comes out of Illinois, an 8th-round draft choice. He did not allow a sack in his last 24 college games.
Yep.
I wanted to get that in before somebody beat him.
Coached by Mike White. Did a great job, by the way, on Cornelius Bennett, the scouts tell me. Good pass blocker, too.
Well, he had that experience at Illinois with Mike White.
That's right.
Jensen, 8 out of 13, 71 yards. That was a gain of 5, so it's 2nd and 10. Jensen with a short drop under some pressure. Wants to keep it. Driven out of bounds. Got to about the 37-yard line. Will Johnson, the rookie out of Northeast Louisiana. Number 67 got to him.
Shula's got to be holding his breath every time he sees a guy breaking out of there, huh?
He's running out of guys that can take a snap from center.
It's been a long, long evening for him.
And I think Strock's sitting over there saying, hey, take it easy, Jensen. Don't be running back.
Listen, I saw Strock the other day. He's got to be about 15, 20 pounds over. He's in no position to be out there tonight.
Don Shula yelling out at his club on 3rd and 3.
Pretty big play here.
The clock is down to 3 seconds. They need to get the snap off, and Jensen just does in time. 4-man rush, dumps it over the middle. Stratford almost made the circus catch and just couldn't hold it. Would have been plenty for a first down. He must have touched it 4 times.
And he usually has pretty good hands, too, and very nearly picked it up. Hot potato time here, guys. 1,
stops it.
2 behind the back, 3 on top of the helmet, 4, 5, and out.
Boy, you've got to know in that situation, too, somebody is just drawing a bead on you.
Yep.
Miami will have to punt it away. Vody Patterson is deep. Reserve wide receiver, and Roby almost knocked this out of the stadium.
Bring rain.
Patterson from the 11. Gets away from Blackwood and Hardy. Got a great block at the sideline. Gets to the 27.
Might have a fumble.
53-yard punt, 17-yard return.
Looks like holding.
Could be maybe blocking below the waist. Anytime there's a change of possession, kickoff, punt, interception, fumble, you cannot block below the waist. Holding is the call.
Post-possession foul. First down after enforcement.
And that'll cost the Bears some yardage and put them in a hole with 9:27 to go in the game. But the Chicago Bears are up 10-3. see where they will mark it. And there's a timeout on the field now with 9:27 to go in the ball game. Back with more on ESPN in a moment. That's the sight from the Goodyear blimp, and it's a pleasure to have them with us tonight. The Enterprise over the stadium. Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, and some of the Dolphins cheerleaders on the sideline. They have not had a great deal to cheer about tonight. If you just joined us, injury to Dan Marino, a dislocated finger on his passing hand, and he'll be out of practice for 4 weeks, we are told. And then backup quarterback Jim Carsados with what appears to be a slight knee injury. John Offerdahl, their outstanding linebacker, also hurt his shoulder. Gives it off, no dice. Lakehe Mooley is into the ball game for the first time. 9th round draft choice out of Brigham Young.
By the way, Harbaugh in his first college start, we were talking about Jim Harbaugh before, a 22-14 win over Miami in Ann Arbor back in '84. Stands as Miami's last loss on the road. They had 15 straight victories since then. So that's the guy who broke the string. Coming out of a national championship year, I might add, too, in September.
Got a couple of new wide receivers in there. Dave Moritz, number 97, out of Iowa. 6-footer. 2nd and 8. Chicago now starting to dominate the statistics. Hey, Mooley again. Good effort this time across the 15 to about the 16-yard line. Tim Pigeon, number 94, another rookie out of Syracuse, was in on the tackle, playing one of the inside linebacker spots for the Dolphins.
I want to ask Dick about line play this year. With the steroid ban, these offensive linemen aren't going to be as pumped up as they've been in the past. Think it could affect the line play, Dick?
I don't know. It's something, that I don't know very much about, the steroid. We didn't have them back then.
Never used.
No.
Okay.
3rd and a yard. Harbaugh at quarterback for Chicago. Hey, Mooley. Looks like he had the first down. Doug Betters in on the tackle.
You didn't need steroids anyway, Buck.
But to get back at it, I was speaking with Dan Hampton, and he was saying, if they had allowed that, or the way people were using it anyway, that he was seriously considering, geez, do I have to do that to compete with these people?
Sure, when you have to line up against the guy who's using it, there's a mismatch.
Exactly.
By the way, the Patriots banned steroids last year, and they went from the top rushing team the year before to the worst rushing team in the AFC. So it might have affected them.
1st and 10, Chicago. The Bears would like to work on the clock. It's down to 7:24. Harbaugh dumps it out to Jesse. A lot of Dolphins there. Jesse cuts it back, slipped the tackle, then took a shot and is down at the 17th line. And a flag is down.
You got a sportsmanlike here, unsportsmanlike. Looks like Mark Brown.
Mark Brown and Riley Walton, the tight end. Little extracurricular activity.
They call it fighting, I think.
A little hot under the collar.
Yeah, they do call it that, don't they?
Who is it that says, why do they always say extracurricular activity when it's just fighting?
Personal foul.
They're fighting, folks.
52 offense.
And the personal foul will go against both ball clubs.
After the play,
offsetting penalty.
the down counts.
Hey, Dick, by the way, would you ever deliberately try to hurt somebody out on the field?
After the play, fouls offset, the down counts.
I don't know about a preseason game. But maybe, no, I didn't go out and deliberately try to hurt somebody. What are you looking at me like that?
Like a league game, maybe something significant like that?
Well, it could be. Just for that game, though. Just for 60 minutes.
2nd and 9 for Chicago. The delay goes to Jesse. Larry Griffin out of North Carolina out of the secondary to make the tackle.
Another little flag there.
A lot of reserves in right now. Tends to get a little sloppy.
That could be extracurricular.
Face mask, 15-yard foul, defense. 15 yards, automatic first down.
Watch Larry Griffin in the secondary. He's number 21 out of North Carolina, second-year man. Apparently he was called for this roughing.
Face mask? No. There's that it? Yep. There it is. Pulling the face mask.
And that's a 15-yarder. Takes it out to the 41-yard line. And may put Mr. Griffin on Coach Shula's list. That's the 7th penalty against the Dolphins. Not normally known for getting many, if any at all. Chicago doing a good job on the clock. Harbaugh back to throw against the 4-man rush. Directing receivers. Mooley trying to call the block. He gets out to the 49-yard line.
Speaking of extracurricular activity, there was a report that Dick Butkus once bit a referee. I asked Larry Zonka if that was true.
He bit a referee on the finger. I don't care what anybody says, even Butkus. I was there and saw it. After he bit the referee, he punched our center in the head, whose name was Tom Good, who's down in Mississippi now, I believe. And we can find him and verify the story if you'd like. But a huge fight started, and at the end of the fight, the referee was, holding his finger, but Butkus was out of the game.
Well, Butkus.
Larry.
Fighting alive. Right here. This is the guy here. Right here. He bit a referee, ladies and gentlemen.
Honestly, I don't remember that. I remember the fight and things like that. The official bringing me to the sideline and then Coach Dooley yelling, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" And the guy says, I bit him. I said, "Well, I'm in a white jersey. Where's the blood?" But it was a night like this, hotter than heck, and it was one way to get out of the game and get a little rest. But I don't remember that. How could Larry, if you're out there, how could you get your finger through the mask?
There is another flag. On top of Jesse.
I haven't had a chance to talk too much about Rick Graff. He missed 20 practices, 15 days, 9 meetings at outside linebacker. It's tough to learn when you miss that much time. He's the right outside linebacker. Number 2 pick, 6'5", 245. Dolphins love his demeanor, which is to say very nasty. Struggling right now. The rap against Graff, though, is that he misses a lot of tackles he shouldn't, that he's too much a grabber, a reacher, not a sticker.
Well, they need some help at linebacker, and I think Rick Graff is going to give it to them, along with Offerdahl, and if Hugh Green comes back, they'll have quite a linebacking corps. Harbaugh on 3rd and long has to roll. And it's complete to Sanders, but Sanders will be well short of the first down at the Bears' 37. Larry Griffin, good coverage on that one. Just made sure he did not get to first down territory. And this will bring Kevin Brown into the ball game to punt for Chicago with 4:35 left to go in the ball game. There's Brown. And Scott Schwades is deep to receive, standing at his own 17-yard line. This could be returned. Schwades reversed the field. Nice effort by the rookie out of Syracuse up to the 37-yard line. A 40-yard kick, a 14-yard return. And there is a flag down, and with the reversal of the field, that may have been a clip, but it's not. It's going to be an illegal receiver downfield. And we'll see what the Dolphins choose to do on this. Take the penalty and make them kick it again, or keep it where it is.
Yeah, pretty good field position here.
Yeah.
This could be their last stand at 4 minutes, 15 seconds left. They're going to go with it.
Don Shula sends Jensen into the ball game. So the Dolphins with plenty of time.
Ineligible downfield, number 65, kicking team. Penalty is declined. First down.
And we have a timeout with 4:15 to go in the first preseason game for both these clubs. Back in a moment. There's the story. 4:15 left to go in the ball game. Chicago on top of Miami 10-3. The Dolphins have the football at their own 36, 1st and 10. Jim Jensen, the quarterback. Stratford goes into the slot. Four-man rush. Dumps it off. Tom Brown, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, to the 44-yard line. Will Johnson, the linebacker, in on the stop.
Brown mostly a blocking back, but the Dolphins need a blocking back. They need a big fullback anyway. And he's raised a few eyebrows. He's definitely in the running for a job. One thing we forget, these guys here are working for a job right now.
Sure.
Jobs at stake down there.
Dolphins, after a pretty decent start on the ground, have only gained 57 total yards for the ball game. Chicago with 202 on the ground. Another flag is down, and the fourth quarter has been penalty filled. As Jensen crossed the 45-yard line. So false start on the Dolphins. They'll bring this one back. The official attendance tonight, 63,451. ESPN's presentation of CFA college football premieres Wednesday, September 2nd. Pittsburgh against Brigham Young. Airtime is 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. It's going to be a great year on ESPN for college football. Join Jim Kelly and Kevin Kiley for that one, and a big schedule of college football all throughout the fall. Jensen on 2nd and 7 now. Under a lot of pressure. Hartenstein had him. Ooh. And he threw it away. Let's see what the official will call. It's down. Hartenstein has the sack. Hartenstein, quite a story, really. Trying to hang on to a job in his 13th year, Dick, and they say he's playing pretty well.
He's very good against the rush. Last year they moved him around just during the rush, and then they take him out during a passing down. But here he did a good job rushing the passer, and he's in the in the workout room all the time. And, he's a go-getter.
By the way, he was sacked even before he threw the ball because he was within the grasp and control, the quarterback was, of Hartenstein, and that you have to have both grasp and control for it to be a sack.
3rd and a half mile for Miami now. Jensen over the middle and overthrows Stratford, and just sort of tossed that one up for grabs into the zone defense of the Chicago Bears. It'll bring up 4th and long. Jensen at quarterback because both Marino and Carsados have been injured tonight.
I'm sure he had no idea he'd be working this much.
Where he looks there.
He wants to hang on to a job as a backup receiver, and this is not really a great thing for Jim Jensen, although he wants to be that 3rd quarterback too. This is Eric Jeffries ready to receive the punt. 2:53 to go in the game. Roby is back to kick it. Flag is down. End over end this time for Roby, and Jeffries can't get there.
I think the Bears were offside.
I think that was Anthony Mosley, and he's the guy that touched that fumble back. Special team coach will have a little something to say to him.
38-yard kick. Let's check out the penalty.
And speaking with Mike Ditka before the game, that's what he wanted to do, is try to eliminate mistakes. And I'm sure Shula's not all choked up about
46 defense. Still 4th down.
Dick, if you had to rate the performances of the 3 quarterbacks for the Bears tonight, who would you put number 1? They were pretty much even, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd go with Tom Sack, I believe, because of the experience factor. I'd move Arbrough up to 2nd. And, I don't know. Still, he's still trying to figure out what Flew he's going to do.
Of course, the best pass Doug threw all night was dropped.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
Numbers.
That's true.
Roby will punt it again. It's still 4th down and now 16. And Jeffries is standing at his own 25. And Roby got another boomer away. Jeffries at the 13. Got back just to the 20-yard line. A 57-yard blast from Reggie Roby and a 7-yard return. 2:29 to go. Back after this.